even once?
Well, I mean, I've had sex before. Just, never with a person.
Oh, we're live? It says we're live.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, live people.
Oh, we are live? Wow.
What's up? Gotta find this new link now.
Oh, we've got the Erudi just joined.
Do it live!
Please!
Live!
Maybe he was the one breaking it.
Yeah, maybe it was his fault. All right, everyone.
I believe it.
Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Judd Morgan, and this is the SJW Show, and we're having significant technical difficulties, so we're just trying to make it up as we go along, just doing the best we can. And so we're switching over to a different, live video in general, so we're going to see how well this works for all of us and see how well this goes. But let's start with our great panelists we have. We have a great show planned for you guys, a lot of great topics, a lot of great panelists. First, we've got the Jonny64. He's actually wanting to introduce his OnlyFans channel focused on feet. So he wants to do a little commercial for that real fast.
Oh, God. Okay. No, what the conversation that happened backstage earlier was that I don't like feet. I don't even like my own feet. I wear socks at all times. So please don't do that. I will be horrified. I don't want to see any feet on stream at any point. I may just leave. So there. Happy to be here.
Johnny's got severe trauma, apparently.
He's got very severe.
He was attacked by a
gross.
giant when he was younger.
I don't understand what has happened in the last 5 years, why people are all over comment sections saying,
5 years?
show your feet. Like,
Johnny, have you ever listened to the statistics? Feet are like the most popular thing on the internet. Like, for a long time.
That's not true.
It's true. Go look it up. It's one of the most common
These sites publish their statistics. That's not true.
I think
It's one
I'm
of the
the
most common fetishes in the world.
Oh, no, you want to go to the sites directly, see what people search for. It's amazing.
On P-Hub, it has a lot of feet. Okay? It
My
says
favorite was
on the
Pickles,
search
how do
list,
you know this?
because they post their soldiers.
We're
They
on
do,
the
yeah, they
internet,
do,
we
like,
all know it.
studies with the stats. They do it even for like nation by nation as well. Like when Overwatch came out, all the Overwatch characters were some of the most searched for terms. In fact, Blizzard tried to ban all of the videos and didn't realize we've gone too far. We can't control this. There's too many people against us. And in the end, they had to give up. But they did try to take control of all the.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
You'd
down
think
Rule
a games
30.
company would know better, but apparently
Yeah.
not.
We're trying to stop it. They've become too powerful.
All this was Johnny's introduction.
Yep, this is
all
all
this is to say hi to Johnny.
Hi, everyone.
You're permanently known as the feet guy on this channel from now on. I may just...
Let's see.
Welcome the feet guy, everyone.
He who sleeps with socks.
Yes. I'll take that rather than being the feet guy. Then people
Well-
are going to be like, I wonder if Johnny will like my feet, and I'll start emailing
Stop
feet.
it.
I don't want that.
Well, Xray Girl actually has a different statistic to go along with, socks and feet. We want to share that with everyone.
What the hell were you going with this?
I have to show you the most perfect pair.
Damn, that's good.
Are you all right, Johnny?
Someone
looking.
slid in my DMs and left me that. So, audience, what do you think?
I get Lord of the Rings articles. You get posted feet. Our audiences are not the same.
15 out of 10. 15
And guess
out of 10.
what? Guess
Those
what?
are top tier.
That's from someone on this panel.
It was me. I have the hairy feet.
Yeah, we gotta make a guess
But
on
it
whose
was-
those are.
It wasn't mine.
I was
Gotta
gonna
put a
say
poll up for
it's
that.
definitely not mine.
Somebody on this panel is an actual hobbit.
I don't have any statistics.
Well, that sort of thing about socks in certain centers.
Well, no, see, this is not my statistic. I heard this on a podcast called Call Her Daddy that wearing socks makes finishing that much better.
Well, yeah, because you finish into the sock.
There you go. There's the truth.
I'm here all day.
Leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Biggles just left.
It turns into its
Wow.
own lethal weapon afterwards.
Have you seen the pictures of like fungus growing out of those?
Hey, if you're the parent of a teenage boy, going into that room is a death sentence.
God.
You don't know what you're gonna find.
You gotta know what you're in for.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Johnny's face is
That
just...
keep outsiders for your own protection.
It very much is. I remember when I was a teenage boy, those signs were very much for other people's protection. I can attest to that. I'm not that far from removed to that, to be honest, but
It was
Johnny,
last
is that
week
why you
for
like to wear socks?
What? So I'm just ready to no.
walking on the graves of
Yeah,
his
2 or
enemies.
3.
Right, I'm done.
Well,
I'm done.
everyone, that is the introduction for Johnny 64. Everyone, we went on a roller coaster with that. Feet man, cum socks man, he's just got it all, and this reputation will follow him forever.
Thanks.
I
So
won't
happy
need
I
to
showed up.
Johnny.
Well, I think it's time we moved on to introducing someone else. We've also got Blabbering Collector, who's actually
hi.
a regular on this channel. She might be an honorary Hollywood scholar at this point for as much as she shows up. And let's
Hi.
see if her simps are in the chat, because she's got quite a few of them in my chat. So we'll see how that goes. But how's it going, Blabs?
Oh, it's going. There was maybe just a leak, not really a leak, but someone released a demo of the Lego Star Wars Skywalker video game, and I really want to play it. Really excited. That's it.
All right, perfect. Well, that's a good time to bring in a message from the chat. We have a very important question for Xray Girl. Is this how it happens?
I think I can bring this back to order. Oh my god.
That's what the leg's true purpose is.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I did not expect the stream to turn out the way it did already. We're what, 10 minutes in?
Maybe that's why I steal his leg. I don't know.
It's not for him. It's not for him. When he goes on trips when you're that you don't go on him with, he's like, I'll leave my spare leg for you. I know you get lonely.
Oh, he is at least
detachable
6,
for her
so
pleasure.
thought-
Detachable for I know people who actually do that for like engagement presents. Like they do make duplicates of their genitalia for their partners. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's a real thing. I actually, one of my best friends from the military, he actually asked me to help him make one to give to his fiance. I'm like,
Did you say yes?
no, I'm like, you know what?
He was
I'm
like,
gonna
let me
leave.
mold that for you.
I mean,
like-
the great thing about 3D printers is that because it's digital, you can easily multiply the size. So,
Exactly.
you can
That's
get a
what I was
full-size
telling
one.
him. Just pay for one of those, not one of those homemade kits. And he hands me the box. I'm like, it says self-service on here. Self-service. That means I don't have to be here. Go fuck yourself.
I think that's
Just-
the point.
I like the idea of giving it as a wedding gift, though. It implies that you're not going to be around all the time. It's
I
like,
know.
no, you may need this if I'm not. When I leave, you'll still want to be.
It's a great military gift. It's a great military gift. You get deployed. It's like, I know I'm going to be gone for a year, but I don't want you messing around with anyone. So I'm here for you always. Make it all romantic, a sappy speech. I'm here for you always.
Yeah, taxpayer funded ships out there.
To be honest, I suspect they collect dust on the shelf because I'm sure they've got better toys than that.
They might. You just say, straight from the hands of Joe Biden's wallet.
Is this why America is in debt?
This might be one.
It was just a big, massive one they had to ship out.
We're just extremely irresponsible with our money.
That's very much true.
We just buy a lot of sex toys and stuff.
Hi, Maya.
It's what the SpaceX rockets are for. It's like, how far can we ship these things?
How far can humanity shoot its load?
Oh, God.
They're just like, you know what? If we make them look like penises, it kind of serves two purposes. So,
It's just,
Wow.
It's just a versatile shape. That's all.
Wow,
Yeah.
this introduction is getting a little naughty.
I know,
Who's
we're going full.
This was Blabbering Collectors.
This is
So Johnny needs to change his name to Feet Guy, and Blabs needs to change it to Self-Service.
Oh, great.
This is what happens when you're the quiet, uncomfortable ones. Because, like, me and Blabs, we just, like, we haven't chimed in, we haven't said anything nasty, and now we're getting picked on. That's how it works, I guess. Dog eat dog world.
Rockets and missiles are phallic symbols. Just saying. It's a sign
Mine
of the
is bigger
patriarchy.
than yours.
the sign of the
That
patriarchy.
scares me.
Nothing you can do about it. Misogyny in space. Sexism in space.
You see Frosk flying in the middle of space.
Wow.
Let her out an airlock to shout her message to all of space.
She yells at the aliens, "You guys are sexist."
I would watch that show. I would watch the fuck out like Star Trek, but she just goes alone in a pod to all these different alien races to lecture them on sexism.
That's
like
just
that-
Star Trek Discovery.
That pretty
That was just
Goes around the world lecturing everyone.
Was that our third or our second introduction?
a second one.
Yeah.
Wow, we're making it.
Well, we do
It's
have
worse
some
than
Star
Friday Night Tights here.
I was about to say, wow.
with more sex. Friday Night Tights with more sex.
Oh,
Well,
how could you refuse?
Depends on the week. Depends on the week.
hmm.
Last week with Ryan gone, it was pretty much okay. So that might be the cause.
But not as much.
Brittany
ASMR, that's
Ventney
for
was
sure.
doing her best to make up
That's
for Ryan.
true. She was. Everyone was saying, Mahler, you got to make up for it. Brittany did the job for her. Well, we do actually have some Star Trek Discovery news to talk about later, that whole fiasco about a real-life politician getting on. But I think we need to make our way through the introductions before we get into actual topics.
We haven't finished.
That's what she said.
It's not
Yeah, I
something
knew
I
you'd
offer.
say that.
All right, we also have the man down under himself, Lethal Lightning. How's it going, man?
Good morning. First of all, thank you for having me. I am
course.
loving Xray Girl at the moment. Badass profile picture, and it's
Look at that.
extremely
Mars.
rare. It's extremely rare that I'm on a panel where I am the least degenerate person.
Oh, wow.
We're giving you a run for your money.
Oh man, this is like I used to stream with actual porn stars, but you guys are fucked.
You should have seen us before we went
That's a
live. It was worse
compliment.
before we went live.
It doesn't make it
Thanks,
better.
Sorry?
It doesn't. Well, this is actually the first time I've actually interacted with Lethal Lightning at all, so it's great to have you here, man. I really appreciate you joining us, and I feel like you'll
Thank
be a
you.
great addition to this really fucked up session we've got going on.
Let's do it.
I'm just
Perfect.
convinced that everybody on this panel has a foot fetish because it all started with me saying I don't like feet, and then
So do you
everyone
want the
on
photo
this
too?
panel
Is this
got
what you're saying?
super
Do you want me to
horny
send you the
all at
photo
same
too?
Oh,
time.
don't worry, I'm about to agree with you, just not quite as much.
I'm actually on the Jonny train. I'm very much against feet stuff. I don't understand it. So
I just want you all to know, everyone that says they're against feet, I'm taking an extra photo just for you.
That's fine.
Yes,
X-ray girl.
Mara.
I'm more of a
Collage.
Jupiter guy. I'm more of a Jupiter guy.
I'm more of a Venus.
Based.
But Mars is pretty cool too.
is this some sort of dweeb thing?
I have no
Yes.
freaking clue.
I'm Sailor Mars on the FNT intro, so I thought I'd just
Okay.
be
there we go.
continuous with that.
Oh, that's great. I actually know zero about anime. I think Jeremy.
That's
teaches
fine.
more
I know
anime.
zero about Star Trek.
Perfect.
Me too.
Makes me really sad.
I know zero about both of those, really.
Yeah,
Modern
she does,
shows
the
made
only thing
everyone wish
she
they
knows a
didn't know
damn
anything.
thing about is Harry Potter. That's the only reason
Not
she blabs
sure.
around.
Star Wars. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'm learning Star Wars. I've watched
Oh.
the first 3 movies.
Yeah,
What do you think?
when I was
Stop.
yeah.
You're done. Stop.
No,
Yeah,
when I
nothing
actually
else.
messaged Xray Girl about joining the panel, she's like, "Hey, I'm actually watching Return of the Jedi right now, and I don't know anything about this." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we'll get a fresh Return of the Jedi perspective." And I know this is
Yeah.
an unpopular opinion, but
Years
Return of the
late.
Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Same. Same.
I know the first there's parts of it that are
Yuck.
terrible, but that Vader Luke sequence at the end just saves the whole movie for me. That's like
So good.
some of the best Star Wars ever.
Yeah, it's not the objective best or anything.
Yes,
I'm saying that.
absolutely.
I just love that movie. Yeah.
That's very much where I'm at. Subjective
Yeah.
versus objective. That's something that I very much need to make a distinction on because we'll talk about this a little bit later. But when it comes to Elden Ring, objectively, I know it's amazing. Subjectively, I hate it. So we're going to get
Ooh.
more into that later. But I think it's time we move on to our next introduction. All right, how many people have we gone through? 3. We've got through 3. We're doing really good.
One third there.
Let's move on to the producer of Friday Night Tights. She has more words here, so we're actually more progressive than Friday Night Tights. The woman herself, Xray Girl. How's it
Ooh,
going?
It's good. I like that I have more words. I make Jonny cringe. I feel very proud about that. I feel like I have to bring this back just to see that face. I'm so sorry.
No, I
Here,
hide my
something
face
cute.
whenever you do that.
All right, and now Jen can
Go back
talk
to the
about
foot.
my football over here.
Yes, that is a makeshift football that I have an unnatural desire to punt. I have an unnatural desire to punt it.
She looks terrified.
That's
She
it.
can't-
Well, he's just said he's going to punt it. Of course it looks terrifying.
All right, all right. That's
I
at least a
think Jed's
cuter
the other
dog.
person in that photo that you can't see.
Well, at least that's a
Jed's
cuter
putting his
dog.
cleats on right now.
I know,
The
right?
box is like, oh god.
Okay, here.
I think I
here's
still
a
have
better
my high
animal.
school. All right. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing that? Okay, hang on a second. There we go.
Ah!
I do not
Oh
like
god,
that.
there it is.
That is awful.
Well-
How could you?
Don't you want to pet him, Biggles?
No. How dare you insult Ryan like that?
I thought it was a compliment. Here's a better picture.
That's much better. That's much better.
Oh,
As
it's
much
got Jamie or Jeremy's face on it. It's breaking my eyes. Like,
well, as much as I hate little dogs, I love little dogs well more than I like cats. Cats are demon spawn, so
little
You might
dogs
like
are
Ryan.
cats.
exactly like Ryan's perfect. God. Well, speaking of Ryan, I just do want to mention this real fast. For those of you who don't know, they are in Jeremy, Ryan, and Steph are in Vegas for the John Bartolo Memorial. And I never had the privilege to meet John Bartolo, but I knew a lot of people really had a lot of great feelings and a lot of good relationships with him. So I do feel a semblance of a loss just because of how much it seems to affect those around me. So I really want to send my condolences to him and his family. And that's just something I felt like we needed to talk about on the stream because it hasn't been that long. So I know we went from a roller coaster there. It was a straight stop, but that was the reminder I needed to make that statement that I felt like I really needed to. But just real fast, how many people actually met John? I don't want to get this bogged down.
I met John on Tuesday Night Main Event once. We talked before the stream, and
Right.
then obviously during the stream for a little while. Yeah, he was a really cool guy though. Yeah.
No, he seemed really great. And I know Biggles met him once. But yeah, I watched the live stream with all his buddies, and that really affected me personally. Even though I hadn't met him, I have experienced things that I can at least relate to the situation. So I did want to throw that out there since he was a big figure in our sphere, but I don't want to spend too long on it. Just like what Jeremy was saying, John would want us to keep going. And that from what I've seen of him, that definitely makes sense. So we actually have the Uber Geek in chat. That man is a legend on Twitter. He wants to say hi to the new girl.
I love your meme.
Xray, cool.
I love how just randomly Gary started doing that. Like, I don't even know what caused that, but it was pretty fucking
I think
funny.
it was a super chat.
Was
I
it?
feel like.
Okay. Yeah, and every time he introduces you now, or he mentions you, it's that way.
I think I need to learn like Japanese so I can reply to him.
I thought it was Gruel from Despicable Me. That's what I always thought of.
Wow.
Right?
Me?
Am I wrong?
So we don't talk about that movie around here. So we're
Who just
moving on.
left?
We're moving on to our next.
left or yeeted.
Wow.
I think,
Yeeted.
Wow.
We don't talk about that garbage movie. All right. Yes.
What do you have
movie?
against Despicable Me? Are you serious?
By
No,
my
it might be one of the
There's
few animations I've seen.
All right.
Listen, we're gonna have
The
to
way
talk
he
about that
says,
too.
the way he
Is that the one with
says,
the
like he
minions?
talks and all that, it sounds like it's like
Oh,
a
no, I've not
girl.
seen
That's how he sounds it.
No. Okay.
We're gonna
Not
have
that my girl is.
we're gonna have to have some conversations, Jed, about some movie stuff.
I feel like
Oh,
we need some
boy.
therapy. Why do you not like Despicable Me?
Yeah, we got to figure this one out.
No.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the animation style.
We were doing so good for a second
It's
there,
an
and then it
inferior
changes.
Shrek.
What's that, Erudi?
It's an inferior Shrek.
Yes. Shrek, I think, is shit too, but it's Shrek
What?
is better.
You are
Literally,
I think
Shrek.
I'm on the wrong show.
All right, I do have to
I think I'm
preface
too old
this.
for this.
I do have to preface this. I didn't watch Shrek until I was 21, so that was like a year ago. I saw that, so I didn't watch it as a kid, so I don't have that nostalgia
Doesn't
attached
make
to
it
it. A
any
lot
better.
also as a male, when you're 21, your brain hasn't fully developed yet.
Is
so
that what it
makes
is?
sense, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you fell in
I'm
love with
35,
it when
mine
you
still
were a
hasn't.
kid, so I'm just saying. Are you any more right as a kid than I was at 21?
Yes.
I'm older than I look. I'll say that much.
I'm older than I look. I think Blabs nearly had a heart attack when she found out I was 22.
Yeah, I thought he was like 30 with the beard and everything. I was like, what?
It's the beard. Yeah, beards age you.
Oh, I'm a baby.
It's either
face
good or
without a
bad,
beard.
depending where you come from.
You're a
Although
baby.
some
at
people
that
look
age.
like a rat when they shave their beard.
I look
Apparently
terrible.
not.
I
Shadow
mean,
Lethal-
Misty would agree with me.
Lethal lost his cool when he found out how old I was. He was calling me a liar. Like just in
Really?
chat. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I hear Johnny's like
You are a
52.
fucking liar. You are not in your fucking 30s, cunt. No fucking way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are
Also,
you
the
in
other
your
thing
30s,
is,
Johnny?
Lethal can't talk.
32,
Lethal
yeah.
looks great with a
that
beard
makes
or
sense.
without a
Your
beard, so.
Nintendo fetish.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter
It
what
goes
I do.
all the way back.
So, speaking of Johnny and video games, I am very much a late bloomer when it came to video games. I didn't play video games until I was an adult, so I did fall in love with the N64, but all the old stuff I can't play. Like Link to the Past, I've tried so many times, I just can't do it. But
can't wait
I
to hear
love
some hot takes
Ocarina of
about that.
Time. Ocarina of Time is one of the best games ever made, and whatchamacallit, I played all like the 3D Zeldas, and I love them all. But I can't do Link to the Past. I know.
You just don't like top down overhead
yeah,
games?
that's
Is that
a
what
big
it is?
part of
Because
it.
I'm telling you, it's aged well. I mean, there's modern games like
it
that.
definitely did, and it was the top down that I really didn't like, and that's kind of why.
Okay.
And it's the interactiveness of it. Like that's kind of why I don't like Elden Ring. I'm very much a story-driven person when it comes to my media, and so with those two, it's not as upfront like The Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is the best game ever made. So like, there's not.
Well-
it's not as an upfront story.
Well,
in Link to the
God,
Past.
you are just
To be
you
fair,
are just a factory
So it's funny,
of hot
it's-
takes.
what is-
He's
what it
like,
is
no
is like-
Elden Ring, no Shrek, no Link
It's
to
like
the Past.
having a
I'm like,
guy
dude,
sit
we're
in
like,
front of
how
you.
many minutes into this stream?
No.
It's like having a guy sit in front of you with a loaded gun, and as he's talking, he just fires a shot off real fast and puts it under the table. He's like, "What? What's the problem?"
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
Going into Elden Ring, everyone knew the story was written by George R.R. Martin.
Right.
Of course, there wasn't going to be one. He couldn't finish one, so it was never going to be there in the first place. Going
That's a
into it,
good
I knew
point.
like this is going to be bare bones at best.
What is it? Are
Yeah.
we at like 4 introductions now?
I
We've
think
done
we're
like
getting
half a
close.
stream. We've done like a whole
Yeah,
stream.
this is what the
already.
stream is: introducing people.
Yeah, that's what takes the whole time.
The last part of the stream is
plug.
when they introduce the last person. They're like, "All right, guys, cool. Everybody got introduced."
We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
think
how
he's basically saving me to the end so he could just boot me before he introduces me, you know?
You're right.
Guys, it's Beagle's man. Oh, we lost him. Sorry. What is it like? When Jimmy Kimmel used to do he used to introduce Matt Damon. Said he never had time for Matt Damon. He like finished the episode or whatever. So
I mean, I saw Matt Damon. I think it was Matt Damon tip toilet water over himself for the ice bucket challenge. That was a gorgeous piece of cinematic genius.
Ugh.
That was his best
Yeah.
work.
yeah. Sometimes sophisticated humor goes over people's head. I do agree. Jade's based.
Yeah, no, I was just I missed the curve on Shrek. Like I
Like,
really
I need a hero. That entire segment is just.
Well, what year did the original Shrek come out? 2002?
2001, 2000.
It was 2001.
I
Yeah,
was
2001.
1 year
I
old.
did
Dash Mouth was out.
I
so it
was
like
one.
sixth
I was not
grade.
watching.
I don't
Shrek.
like. Okay, listen. I don't like hearing these
Oh,
numbers.
I'm
I don't
so
need to
old.
hear how old you were when a movie came out when I was 10. Okay, like I don't need to hear it. It's fine.
I'm
I
just
was
young.
14 or 15.
I don't like that.
Fuck,
I just-
Disparu, how fucking old are you?
Yeah, now Lethal's
I said I
gonna
was
call you a
35.
liar.
I already
I
yelled
missed
at
that
this
earlier.
Johnny's like, oh well, I'm not going to say my age. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you.
Well,
I
yeah,
already-
it's the fact
I
that you
already
don't have a
yelled at
beard. You look
Disparu
very
when I
young,
found out his
Disparu.
age. Don't worry, Johnny.
Wait, Disparu,
You're not
how
the
old
only
are
one.
you?
I'm 35.
I fucking
Disparu's
yelled at
the-
an Xray girl too when I found out she
I
was.
thought you were
Disparu's
like
the youngest
27.
looking English 35-year-old.
Lethal's just
I got
convinced
my
that everybody
ID
turns
weeks
30
back.
and dies. In the
You
modern
lucky
day.
bastard. I haven't been ID'd since high
Well,
school.
see, here's the thing, Johnny.
I
I had my
get
midlife crisis when I was 16. So when I hear you're all 30, I'm like, oh, I got like 2 years left. All right, cool.
That's the thing.
You've already got
Australians
your
life.
Ferrari and supermodel.
Yeah, Australians peak at 16, and then because they're gonna get poisoned at some point in their life by all the crazy
Fuck.
creatures.
I've watched enough Steve Irwin to know that's true.
I
Yeah.
love Steve
Oh.
Irwin.
I fucking.
Well, everybody loves Steve Irwin, even the Stingrays.
That is like the
apparently.
one TV show I was allowed to watch as a kid, so I got invested into him.
The Crocodile Hunter.
Yeah, I
They
like
were
it.
like,
That was the best.
No,
"Don't
it was the
watch
movie.
Shrek. Don't
The-
watch all these other movies.
No,
watch this
it
Crocodile
wasn't
Hunter."
the Steve Irwin show. It was the Steve
No
Irwin
Shrek for
movie.
you.
No
Did
wonder
anyone-
you wanna- No wonder you want to punt dogs. It's like the only show you're allowed to watch is the show where a guy gets stabbed through the heart by an animal, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be a well-rounded human being after this.
He's like, oh, by the way, guys, Michael Vick was my favorite football player.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, Jen. Yeah, nothing weird there.
No,
I didn't start watching
show was the
football till
wrong
he's
word.
like-
I wasn't allowed to watch the Steve Irwin show. I was allowed to watch the Steve Irwin movie. I don't know if anyone ever saw that, but I loved
did.
that movie as a kid. It was
Years and years and years
insane.
ago.
It was like a spy thriller mixed with Crocodile Hunter,
Mhm.
like a
They took
satellite.
us to see that movie in school.
I had like so many
Really?
board games.
It was required learning in Australia.
we had to go
They
watch
get out
it.
pitchforks and
It's like a
torches
central
if
part
you
of the
don't watch it. We're lethal.
Exactly. Well, I've got a ton of better, worse takes than that for you guys when we get
damn
further
it.
into.
God.
No, I'm not kidding. Like, it was an adult when I was allowed to become a nerd because I grew up in a very conservative household, like in what I was allowed to do. So it was very much when I became an adult, I became a nerd. So I have a lot of wrong opinions according to these people on here, but the one right opinion that I know I have that you all are wrong about is Doctor Who is the best TV show to ever exist. You'll never
Nope.
convince me
Nope. I
otherwise.
gotta leave. I'm gonna
Which
walk
Doctor?
out.
My
Yeah.
favorite is Matt Smith. I know
What
Oh
the
that.
my god.
No. What?
What's wrong?
Oh no!
Oh, calm down. What's wrong? Give me your reasoning.
What?
Subjectively.
He's
No,
the only doctor
I
I
didn't-
like.
Later,
I
just
haven't
threw.
even watched much Doctor Who, and I know you're wrong. It's 100%
Objectively, I know Tom Baker is the
not
best.
comparative.
I know
Sorry,
Tom Baker
Jodie
is the
Whittaker
best.
should be the best. Don't you?
Tom
Oh,
Baker.
God.
Not even kidding. Not even kidding. Women should speak less. Women should
Tom
speak
Baker!
less.
Yeah, and you too. Kick yourself out
Tom
while you're at it.
Baker.
I would get kicked out, and I'd be like, "Thank God, I'm tired of these."
I'm
horrible
talking
takes.
subjectively. Objectively, I know it's Tom
No.
Baker and David Tennant.
No, not even.
There you
Mike,
go.
who are your
Tenants,
favorite?
yes.
Objectively,
Yes, I love
Tennant.
fucking Tennant.
No.
It is my
Tenant's
like
the best.
of my nerd franchises. Doctor Who is my number one. Half of this wall is Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who, every single second of it, up until 2018, of course. But I was actually, before the stream started, when Biggles jumped on, I was watching the Tomb of the Cybermen on my other screen with the second Doctor. So, like, I know my shit. But Matt Smith, I just like Matt Smith. I know it's wrong, but it's my
Maybe.
thing.
I've never.
I didn't think that was going to be the most controversial
You
thing I
haven't
said
I've
on the
never
stream.
seen
I figured
Disparu
Shrek
get out
would
of
get
his
me
chair.
more people yelling
No,
at me.
Matt
for
Smith
that.
was
we
the
haven't,
beginning of
we
the
haven't
end.
got to Shrek.
I-
there.
Peter
I
Capaldi
only
was the
like-
beginning of the end.
I only like the 11th Doctor.
Yeah, I've made him watch Doctor.
Mike's gonna kill you
Wow.
Wow.
Does the
I-
11th Doctor have a name? Do I
I
have to
have
Google
never
it?
seen Disparu get out of his chair.
I know.
And walk
That's
out the
I think
amazing.
I hurt him. I think I hurt him.
You hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't like Doctor Who. I just like.
So
the
yeah,
11th
I
Doctor.
made Biggles watch it. I had him
You
start
could
with the
make a whole
11th hour.
YouTube channel called Wrong Takes.
Yeah. Every
You
take
probably
we've
get more
had,
subs.
everyone
you
has
will
had an
hate
issue
this
with.
channel.
And not
Yeah.
bad takes. Not bad takes. Wrong takes.
Wrong.
Objectively wrong take.
It's all subjective, though, right, guys? And everybody's like, no.
It does make a difference. I've watched enough EFAP to know it makes a difference. Like I can
Call it morally
recognize
bankrupt.
good movie. All right, who's fucking next? We're moving on before we get into a Doctor Who spiel. All right, Erudi, the new legend here on Geeks and Gamers crew, starting his own channel with Geeks and Gamers, the tabletop stream. It's great to have you, man. I know this is one of your first public appearances, so I really appreciate you coming on here. And how's it going, man?
He's talking through his.
I think we lost him.
Hey, hello.
Oh, okay.
I gotta say, the itinerary I was sent didn't include anything that we've talked about so far. So
The itinerary I had mine didn't matter.
The intro here, I suppose.
This didn't go anywhere I expected either, so the host doesn't know what's going on, so you're doing all right.
You didn't have the attractiveness and of feet and puntable dogs on your itinerary. I had it on mine. I, don't know
I
what you're
had it
talking
on
about.
mine. That's why I
Any
didn't want to
reason
come
why
on the
I'm
stream.
I wrote it.
Yeah, no, I think I'm missing a page.
Hey, this
First
feels like a
page.
poor choices episode right now. It's nothing that we were planning on talking about.
Well, it might be because I've had a lot of vodka, so...
Oh no.
Makes sense.
That's not even a subjective amount of vodka at this point. Like, that's a lot of vodka. Like,
Is that for just tonight?
Yeah, he's trying to get through the.
Yes, I'm gonna finish a whole bottle of vodka, Xray girl. Yes, I am an alcoholic.
That's what I would do.
We haven't got to our
Hey,
introduction
high
yet.
five.
Mine is still young. Like, no.
I am actually an alcoholic. I probably could drink this in one night and not get super
See, you're not
drunk.
that bad.
Our host,
The Australian
he's like,
approves it.
by the way, guys, I'm an alcoholic. If you didn't know, cool. And next introduction.
I might be, you know. I've only been legally allowed to drink for a year, so I'm allowed to be an
That's
alcoholic.
20 years to make up for it.
Oh
I
yeah.
know.
You're
It's
not supposed
18 over here, so
You're not
I
supposed
know.
to
It's
like
become an
half my life.
alcoholic right
So
away.
you didn't watch Shrek as a kid. You didn't teenage drink. What the fuck did you do?
I was homeschooled too, so I sat at home with my brothers and sister and pretended to do schoolwork because my mom didn't actually teach us. Once we were 9, she's like, "You're in charge of your own education." And as a 9-year-old, I'm not gonna fucking teach myself jack shit. So yeah, I sat around reading.
That's
doing
when I played
I
all
mean,
the video games. Yeah.
a lot of the
I mean, you
homeschool
gotta be
people
really
I
good
know
at games
became
when you're
professional Twitch
homeschooled.
streamers.
Homeschooled.
Yeah,
I
I'm in the wrong profession. I need.
also I became a
Growing
nerd
up with
because of
Shrek
reading.
and underage drinking never did anyone any harm.
I'm all for that, you know, but there wasn't alcohol within 100 miles of me, so.
Then start fucking walking.
Even if they're
You can make your own.
Where did you live?
That
In the
was
middle
a
of a
life skill.
field?
It was in the middle of Idaho.
Oh
so
yeah, never mind. There's no alcohol.
Yeah,
there.
no.
It's just-
100 miles is an exaggeration, but we had to drive an hour for gas. We had to drive an hour for groceries. We had to drive an hour for girls.
I
that
thought
we
I lived in
related
one.
to.
You guys could
Yeah,
have
you
like
drive
played
to the
tag
petrol
with
station.
potatoes. Like you should have done.
Yeah, the
you could have
petrol
done that.
station was an hour away at least.
Yeah, you drive there, fill up, drive back, you're empty again. You need to go back.
Yeah. The way
Especially right now.
Idaho is like
gas
a
cost.
black hole of nothingness and potatoes.
It really was.
Yeah, I was gonna say potato dodgeball. That
Like if you just if you just put a bag, if you just open a bag and hold it out, it'll just fill with potatoes. Like they just.
You're not actually wrong. I did harvest potatoes every year.
Yeah.
Thousands of them. I fucking hate potatoes.
That's
now.
even more reason
I
to drink
love
while you're a kid.
They don't have it.
Like French fries.
I still like French fries. They're enough separated that I'm okay with them. But chips, as they're rightfully called, they're
You
rightfully
freaked out Disparu
Did you
again.
just call them
Yeah,
chips?
they are chips, that's why.
See,
They are chips, yes.
But
I
it's
have
the
some
only thing
good
he needs to-
opinions.
Okay, so this
Like,
is
literally,
no.
he'll just deep fry
no.
something. It's like, well, it's not the original
It's
thing
a
anymore.
good opinion when
Yes.
you live in England. It's not a good opinion when you're in America because we don't call them that. We call them fries. We call
That's
them
when it's
French
fish and
We
fries.
call
If he
them
doesn't want to
French
be wrong.
fries.
Fries?
We call them French fries. Fuck the French.
We call them
Freedom
French
fries,
because
motherfucker.
we like taking
It's
things
to be
from
fair,
other
it's the only
people.
reason the Americans are independent.
We
I know,
like taking
right?
things from other people. We're like, and we'll call them French fries. And you're like, they're not French. You're like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, you're going to fight us?
Yeah. What are you
I
going to do? You're
actually,
going to start a fight? You're going to have another revolution before you even.
You know how many guns are in this country?
You're going to wave your white flag?
I say fuck the French, but as a kid, I was a Revolutionary War expert, and I spoke French in high school. So
Here's the thing,
I'm not
though. The
racist.
French say fuck the French. So I don't know what the deal is. Yeah. They're not having a
So
good
we're
time.
not
you were into your French stuff, but still didn't drink as a child.
No.
That's a nation of alcoholics. I'm Australian, and
Yeah,
I
it's
respect
true.
their level of alcoholicism.
Yeah, they
Listen,
like
this
water down the
This
wine.
stream started with me going, man, Jed agrees with me with my Return of the Jedi take. I feel great about
Oh.
this. Finally, someone understands me.
I mean, the
and now I'm
stream's-
like, I can't believe I agree with this guy.
Yeah.
Anything. I must disassociate myself.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I'm,
like
I'm
Monster.
sorry.
If he
This
agrees
whole
with you on something.
anti-child drinking thing has really got to me.
I
You can guarantee you're
I
in the wrong
regret
place
it.
if he agrees with
I
you.
do regret that I didn't drink as a child. I do have to be
You
honest.
should.
about that.
I regret my lack of underage drinking.
Thing
It
is
was
that
a
Arthur
severe
Fake said
problem.
on YouTube.
Explains lethal so well.
Well,
It's
my
like
favorite-
after everything Jed said, he's like, "You didn't drink as a child. What is
That's
wrong
what he
with
harped
you?"
on.
Like,
Yeah,
That's
I
how you know
understand
he's
about the war
Australian.
now.
That's
That's how
right.
you know
That's
it's
right.
Australian.
Yes, go Johnny. Johnny gets
My
it.
favorite part about this is he's like apologizing for his lack of drinking as a child, and then immediately is like, "By the way, I'm also an alcoholic already." So, like,
I have to be an alcoholic to make up for all the shit that I missed out on.
that's not how
You
that
can't
works. You don't.
It is.
You don't replace trauma with more trauma.
You
to say
can't
cool.
restrict. If you restrict someone as a kid, they blow up as an adult. That's the way it's
Yes,
always
that's what I was
been.
gonna say. I kind
Whereas
of
if it's like a release valve,
It is. I'm not kidding. All right,
It's like
I
if you
do
hide
have
something to a child, they want nothing more.
People
I
want what
do
they
have
can't
a
have.
shameless plug. I do have to do a shameless plug here. I literally wrote 2 novels about how fucked up my childhood was.
Did you
That's
publish
one way.
those?
I can
That's one way
sum
to
up
get
in
rid of it, I
one
suppose.
sentence. Didn't
Put it in a
drink
book
as a
and sell it to other
child.
people.
So that's Erudi, everybody.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I do feel bad
Why
for
would
Erudi.
I appreciate the
He's
introduction.
Like, Erudi's clearly on a delay, so anytime one of us responds to him, it'll, like, hit him about 10 seconds later, and then he tries to talk, and we're already talking over him.
Yeah, we've moved on because we don't want the dead air. We're like, cool. Great, thanks for being here, man. Yep. Just dead silent. So we've gotten 5 down, 5 out of 9. We're halfway there, guys.
He's gonna have to guess when we shut up, and then just talk in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It really does. Well, regardless, Erudi, we do appreciate you being here, and it's great to have you. I'm going to wait about 5 seconds for you to respond. All right, he's not going to, so we're going to move
I
on.
will respond. I do want to ask this for a question. We were talking about French fries. No, I'm totally responding.
7
We got you.
seconds.
We hear
7
you.
seconds
7
late.
seconds. Okay.
Just brew. What do you guys call pickles? What do you call
We call-
pickles in the UK?
Pickles? You mean gherkins? Yeah, I know that one.
Nope.
Gherkins.
Nope.
Gherkins?
We
What
have
the fuck is
pickles,
a
we also have
gherkin?
gherkins. They're completely different things.
It sounds like
Okay.
sounds
I
like-
love it.
British then.
Look, we're just right about everything. You go over into another country and think, oh no, well, we want our independence. What can we change just to try and prove it? And you just start making up a load of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly how you win.
And
Hey.
that's the only reason you drive on the wrong side of the road is you're like, well,
Excuse me,
it'll be
excuse me,
obvious,
you drive
know,
on the wrong
at least
side
if
of the
they
road.
invade us again,
Dude, you're
we'll be driving
literally
on
the
wrong
only
side and
people
start
who
crashing
drive
into
on the
things.
left side of the road. There's a reason it's called
They
the
most
right
certainly
side.
are not.
It's
Doesn't
the
Japan do
right
it?
side. It's the right side of the road for a reason, because it's the right
The only
side.
person agreeing with Lethal or with Disparu on this side road thing is literally Lethal, and he lives
Fuck
in a
yeah.
country
And the rest
full
of
of
the
criminals.
world.
He lives in a country full of criminals.
Hey,
like
And child
that's like-
alcoholics.
That should be no. We deported him, and he still agrees with me. If that, I mean, if that's not showing that it's even more correct, he has every reason to disagree with me. And he's like, no, he's still right. I don't know
Lethal,
if it's
stop
because he's
agreeing with the
British,
British.
They don't. Do they even have roads in Australia? That's the thing.
They just ride kangaroos
In the Two
everywhere.
Islands.
Have you
Every time
seen
I've
Mad
ever
Max?
watched it-
Have you seen Mad Max? There's
That's what I'm
just
saying.
one road.
No, no, no,
One.
no.
And
There's a
it's pretty
single
fucking
road,
hectic.
and then just desert everywhere, and you just drive wherever.
Yeah,
So,
you know,
I've
if you
seen
want to
it-
go down and do your food shopping, you gotta like hop in. You know, you gotta like just floor it because all the Marauders are gonna be chasing you, fucking swinging chains at you, fucking with spikes on their wheels and shit like that.
See,
But
Oh my
hey, they might be raping barbarians, but at least they drank as children.
it's true. Well, that's not what I've actually
matters.
seen
I
of
think
Australia.
Genghis Khan said the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From
He
what I've
wasn't
seen
that
of
bad, I
Australia,
guess,
they
yeah.
actually ride kangaroos into the battle with the emus. That's what
Yeah,
I've
do you wanna
seen
see
of
mine?
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, but they can't.
Was
They,
it a
you can't beat
crocodile or
an
rattlesnake
emu.
in the air?
A single Australian cannot beat an emu in combat. It's impossible.
It's
It
true.
doesn't happen.
There's only
Yeah.
2
That's
countries
because
in
we
the
were
world that have
child
lost the-
alcoholics.
They were too drunk. Oh, man.
Hey, it's not a dying empire; it's dead. It's long dead,
Man,
long given away.
Yeah, they're just enjoying what they have now. They're just living their
Yeah,
life.
like you don't know much about the British if you don't realize that we revel in our own pain. That's basically our culture.
Stream has gone off the rails, bro. It was never on the rails.
It really wasn't.
It started before the stream.
I was
Johnny
gonna say,
complaining
I feel
about
like as
his
soon
own
as I
feet.
came on the stream,
I did
I have-
not expect this. I have a list of 20 articles to put up, and I'm like, all right, everyone's gonna be really quiet. I'm gonna have to pull these constantly. Fuck, we haven't even got to one.
Yeah, my plan was to
You're
come on for like
welcome.
an hour and 15 minutes, and then I was gonna head off and like fucking do all my shopping and shit. And like we're 40 minutes in, and I don't even think I've said hi to everyone.
Tell
haven't even
me,
been
yeah,
introduced
tell me you
yet.
didn't know who you were inviting on your stream without telling me you didn't know who you're inviting. On your
Yeah, and at any point you could be like, you could just alpha it, be like, oh, this is my channel, my stream. Here's an article. This is what we're going to talk about. Instead, we're talking about.
I
Instead
gotta
of
get
going
some
on about how
introductions first. I'm a polite host. We have
He's
to
still
through
trying to get through
introductions.
the introduction.
wait, so
I mean-
can I just do a takeover? I can just start talking about anything I want.
Probably.
That's what everyone's
Actually,
doing.
No, you're a
Oh my
woman.
God.
You can't do that. We'll talk over you.
Did you
Should
drink
we
as a
talk about
child?
The
X-Ray
Bachelor?
Girl?
Respect.
Did you drink as a child?
I've never
X-Ray
watched The
Girl?
Bachelor ever.
I plead
Hey,
the
we're not
fifth,
talking
even though I'm
about The
not in the
Bachelor.
States.
Okay, no.
That's a yes.
Stop.
I rage quit that show when Shanae was gone. All right.
Yeah, love lost for Jonny. He wishes he had
All right.
Shanae.
All right, stop. What
Wow.
are we, women? We're not women, okay?
I see
Go
at
to the back of the
least,
bus, okay?
Literally, there are
here.
2 women on this stream right here.
Everybody's like, I know why she only has 9 words now. She can't keep the Bachelor out of her mouth. God.
Hey, it's such a good show. Okay, there's been over 20 seasons.
That
All right.
doesn't mean it's good.
I mean, it kind of
It
it
means
means
it
it's
makes
popular.
money.
Half the
I mean,
world
Star
is
Trek Discovery will
retarded.
get there.
Half the world is retarded. So
It doesn't
anything
make-
can survive.
That doesn't mean that it's not popular. Like even if
No,
you
it
call
can be
half the-
popular. It can be retarded though.
people are
It
people are dumb as
All
hell.
right.
with it.
But it's still good entertainment.
Stop!
People
I mean-
enjoy entertainment.
It's like you have hardcore NASCAR fans, and then you have those like normies who just want to watch, like kind of hoping that everybody gets in a
Disparu's
big
fun.
crash. That's how I view like women who watch The Bachelor. Like they just want to see the big crash.
Xray
And,
girl once
I
said
get
to
it.
me, she described it to me. She says, "Lethal, it's trash, but I kind of like trash." That's pretty much word for word what she said to me.
She's like,
Well, that's
"Come
what
on,
she's here
a
tomorrow.
trash panda."
I don't mind it. I love trash then. Okay.
See?
Lethal Lightning knows.
You scared off the British guy. He was
Oh
like,
no!
I really like his avatar.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty great avatar. We're just
I
gonna
just
sit
need-
here in absolute
All right,
silence until he gets
It's
back.
Mike's turn. It's time to introduce Mike.
Yeah, fuck Epic Mike.
You're the
I
one
mean-
introducing people, man. I'm
Sorry,
not.
that's not what I meant. Epic Mike, you killed anyone recently?
I wouldn't tell you if it did.
Smart man. Smart
Yeah.
man.
He's the best CGI maker ever. Okay,
What,
CGI
Thank you.
Josiah looks great.
He
What
looks
did you
great,
have
and
for
his
dinner?
channel is killing it. What did I have for dinner?
Yeah.
I had a burrito.
With what in it?
With-
Josiah meat.
Food, like meat, cheese.
Oh, see, he killed a cow.
I didn't kill the cow. Somebody else killed the cow, and I'm very thankful for that. Yeah.
Mike, did you share your
Um,
picture of your next entry for Woman of the Year?
I don't have the nails anymore. That's the thing. See, these are my regular nails.
Wait,
You
Mike's
can't-
transitioning?
Listen, if
He
I
just
would,
is
I would
tears,
happily.
just
I don't,
rubbing it off with
the
alcohol.
thing is, you don't have to do anything to get nominated for Woman of the Year except say you're a woman. Like, Caitlyn Jenner wasn't a woman for an entire year before she won Woman of the Year.
Yeah,
I think
let
that's
us
pretty
roll
damn
it.
impressive.
You know
like-
what I was thinking?
No, it's not
Um,
impressive. It just
Caitlyn-
shows how
No, we
shit
don't care.
women are.
No,
They
no,
can't
no,
even
that's
get fucking
impressive.
awards.
It
Shush,
just-
shush, 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 shush. She was the first man to woman, or to win any woman anything. Like,
Yeah.
right. I'm saying she is the starter of all of this.
Yeah, like literally a guy kicked open the door, said, "I'm a woman," and they're like, "Give her an award."
Yes,
I'm behind
queen.
it.
She got-
Because even guys can do women better than women.
Exactly.
Apparently,
In
allegedly.
more
Was-
ways
was-
than
was-
one.
I feel like
was,
a horrible
was it a
woman. I need
dude
to
or
grow
a girl
pee-pee
when
or
it killed that
something.
guy?
Oh, well, it was a girl. Yeah,
It was a girl when it killed that guy. So
Yeah.
he went from driving fine his whole life, becomes a woman, gets in a car and fucking kills someone.
Yeah, they're like,
Are
uh-oh.
you sure he's not Asian too? Transracial too?
Good luck, everybody.
He was doing yellowface.
No, he or she enjoys being white because she can go golfing all the time. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there was like a whole article about how Caitlyn Jenner was still going to like an all men's club like for golfing and still had an ID that said like Bruce Jenner on it. And they were like, "You can't do that." And she was like, "What are you gonna do? Stop me?" And then went
Wait.
golfing.
So would she go
glass
to the
ceiling.
male bathroom? That's confusing.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, what are you gonna say? Millionaire just run you over the car if you say anything against her.
Nothing like a
Knocks
trans
you out
who
with a
doesn't
pile
care
of
about
money.
trans rules.
Yeah.
I'll name myself if I want, bitch. What
Yeah.
you gonna do about it?
Yeah, my ID lets me in here. Like that ID says Bruce. Well, today I'm Bruce, I guess. Like you're just
Wow.
like, okay.
Maybe I want to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. What you
Yeah.
gonna do about it?
Double
A
dipping.
win-win.
How dare you?
Double dip.
I want 2 ties.
Listen, to be honest, I would double dip like that too if I transitioned. I don't give a fuck.
I
Like,
fucking oath I would. I'd exploit the shit out of it. Every day would be some sort of
Abso-fucking-lutely.
celebration for me.
about to get streaming, about to get nuked in 3, 2, 1. Nah, see, there's like bad enough to get nuked, and then there's like YouTube, like the algorithm even ignores you. Like the automated system's like, I don't want to deal with this. I can't.
I'm about to nuke it. I'm enough of a pervert to exploit being trans to the utmost degree.
Oh God!
So you're
That's what he did in his book.
If you're gonna be a host, you can nuke your own stream. Nobody will say anything.
He's Bickles isn't actually wrong because it's quite pornographic.
You're
Wait, what?
You should advertise that more often. It'll probably get more sales.
Is that like
Yeah, it's definitely
Amaranth streams? I've learned about her Twitch streams.
You dress up as a horse too, Xray girl?
Amaranth. I've learned what ASMR streaming is.
Dude,
I'll be honest with you.
no.
I'll be
Alright, I'm gonna
totally
keep this
honest with
really
you. I
far
actually
from
have
the camera.
Amaranth on my second monitor right now. She just ended not long ago.
All right, I'm going to keep this really far from my screen so it doesn't flag, but this is in my book.
Did you draw that?
Oh, damn.
I didn't. I hired an artist.
It's close
Are
enough
you
to the camera
as-
we can see what it
Stop
is.
racism.
I need someone to
It's
illustrate my
naked
erotica.
ladies.
I mean, that's
Oh,
one
is
of
that
the
what
ways
your
to
childhood
drop
was
into,
like?
isn't it?
All right, time to
I'm
introduce
making
you.
up for my
Does
child.
nobody else find it interesting that he had that page ready to go?
He just knew where it was.
You knew
I'm
exactly what it
surprised
was.
it's not sticky.
Wow, this stream's about to get nuked and put on
I have a spare
Netflix
copy for
instead.
that X-ray girl.
I've been working on an erotica for a few years, and I am looking for an artist. So
Hey, I can lend you my artist. She really goes all for it. But yeah, this is my childhood. I don't know if you can see that.
is that a fucking giraffe eating a person or some shit?
No, that's Jesus in front of a bunch of dead bodies.
Oh.
Your Old Testament. Your Old Testament.
Jesus, a giraffe. They both start with J. Wait, no, they don't.
You're all about the smitings.
Exactly.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it's a fucked up story.
Even Jesus drank as a child.
No, he didn't. What are you talking about?
Dude, I'm not kidding.
He turned
I
water
was
into
not
wine.
allowed to drink.
Yeah, he was an adult when he did that.
Well, we don't.
Lethal.
We
You're
don't
gonna
know
get pissed.
about that.
Yes, we
He
do.
could
He
have
was.
done it before it was recorded.
Jesus-
Like you telling
Jesus
me
was
that a
with a
teenager
woman.
who can turn water into wine didn't
Yes.
use that talent for
Jesus'
sort of fundraising.
literally said,
girlfriend
"I
was a
don't- I'm not gonna
prostitute
do
that had
this
the
yet."
same name as his mum. The motherfucker drank.
No.
I'll be
the
right
Jimmy
back.
Carr joke who said,
He was 30 when he began his ministry. So was that before or after? And then he was 33 when he died. So
Lethal, you're gonna get pissed. I wasn't allowed to drink non-water. Non-water. So lemonade.
What's non-water? Is that like just anything in general?
anything that's
or-
not water.
Anything that's not water, I
Okay,
wasn't
'cause-
allowed to ingest.
So, like,
Really specific, like,
unsweetened
there's a
iced tea?
non-water.
It was my 18th
We've just
birthday.
found Johnny's like abomination. It's like,
He
what do you mean you
fucking
can't
drank
drink
as a
ice?
child.
yeah, when I'm on a
That's
diet, when I'm on a
as a child.
diet and water's
That's
too
an Australian
boring for me,
Bible,
I
that's
just
not a real
drink
thing.
unsweetened iced tea. And I'm like, oh,
I'm not
this is
lying
my
to you guys.
guilty pleasure.
When my 18th birthday, I went out and drank Coke for the first
What about hot chocolate?
No.
How about milk?
But it's
Why
like,
would that be
That's
an
a
exception?
sugar.
like happiness
It's
in
like
a
I
cup.
can only drink water. What do you mean you can't drink hot chocolate? It's like
Well,
why
well,
would that
if you-
be?
if
Like, well,
hot
I've
chocolate
nothing
is
except
usually-
hot chocolate.
No
Hot
wonder you
chocolate is
turned
either
into a
milk or
raging
water.
alcoholic.
So you
I
can put
know.
chocolate in your water is
He had
probably
flavor
what
for the first time in his life.
There's sheltered, and then there's living in a basement your whole life.
I ate more beans and rice as a child than Ivan Ortega.
I was about to say you sound Mexican.
Yeah.
This
You
is
need
like
help.
kidnapped.
Yeah.
This is like locked in an attic
All
somewhere.
right, I think
and
we
they
should
found
take
him
Jed
being raised by wolves.
We need to bring Jed to
No
Vegas.
Tea, Jed, T. Yeah, no, JT, no T. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you
This
take him
is-
to Vegas, he won't make it out of Vegas. He'll
This
party
is nothing
that hard.
that,
Well,
this is
it's
nothing
time
that
to-
a line of
Hangover
cocaine, a
2.0.
hookah, and a bottle can't fix.
Don't worry,
No.
guys. I'll get him out of Vegas alive.
Mike, I'm just happy to know that there
Hey,
is
show your
someone
feet
out
again.
there
The answer is
that
Yeah,
I
someone show
actually
feeds
like
quick.
you more than
Distract the audience.
Feet! Ah!
Bell. What is happening right now? Did you give him some of your
What
vodka?
happened? Did he die?
I think
There
he's
is a
broken.
wall there. He may have hit his
Are
head.
you alive? God.
I
Oh my
tried.
God.
I
No,
distracted.
that was good. That was the distraction we needed. That was good.
we have a few
Apparently
more.
it was-
We have a few more introductions to go through.
Let's point out real quick that was not an accidental slip there. Interruptions.
That was the savior.
Yeah.
You realize you're describing Demolition Man, right?
I haven't seen that.
It's like essentially when they're like, oh no, everything's handled so no. We don't want Demolition Man. Demolition Man bad.
I went from judging Jed for his terrible, opinions on pop culture to having so much sympathy for him in 5 minutes. I'm like, I understand why you're so screwed.
Well, who's fucking next? We're down to the last two. Disparu, who has become a legend in this community for his Lord of the Rings video, despite not being a Lord of the Rings fan, just to prevent what happened to his beloved series, Wheel of Time, becoming the fate of Lord of the Rings. So I'm so glad to have you here. We're an hour in and we're introducing you. I'm so happy to have you. Disparu, you were not expecting to join this type of stream, were you?
Well, the moment I joined, I got asked a question which I still don't know why it was asked or what the answer was meant to be. But also I get introduced and I've got to follow up that conversation that we've just had. It's like, really, at this point, there's no way to top what's just happened. It's all downhill for me. And I'd like to say, I wanted my introduction to be about Jonny and all his conversations about feet, but it feels like that's long in the past now and forgotten.
That's very tame compared to where we've gone.
I was going to be like moral support and be like, look, I don't have a fear of feet, but I'd kind of if they didn't exist, I wouldn't, if I could walk around without feet, I really wouldn't care about them if they just vanished off the face of the earth.
This is why I'm thing.
And also to support Lethal, is the moment he says anything about Brie Larson, then was like, oh, well, have you seen her feet? It's like, look.
He loves her feet.
Unless you're specifically into her feet or other people's feet, I don't even know why that's a criticism.
Thank you.
It's like, it's very weird that that's the first thing you do. Oh, well, I can't like Brie Larson. Have you seen her feet? It's like, no, that clearly says more about you than...
Yes.
Okay, to be fair, that's far from the only criticism Brie Larson's ever got.
But it's only about her feet now.
That's a good point.
Well, the moment he says he thinks Brie Larson is hot, I'm kicking him in the stream. So be fair warned, Lethal.
I think she's surprising. You have no idea the things I want to do with that woman.
Hey, you were ready on that button.
Wait a
You were
minute.
waiting for his response.
We're gonna kick Lethal for that. That's not even a hot take.
No, that's like basic Lethal.
Yeah,
that's level
that's
one shit. I haven't even worked up to my fucking dad jacking off to Jesus yet.
Yeah, I love how Jed, of all people, after everything
bar.
he told us, is now the arbiter of what's pure and okay on stream and what's not okay. Sure.
Yeah, you should definitely title this stream "Jacking Out to Jesus."
Wow.
I might actually have to bounce if that happens.
I'm telling you, I've been dragged off a stream for drinking before. Consume water.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I trust you all to entertain yourselves because I gotta hit the head.
Of course.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
So while he's gone, we can finally stage the intervention that we were all planning to because he's actually just in the next room. We're all in the same building together.
Yeah.
Every time I go into a group panel, I always assume I did something wrong, but I'm very fucking confident that it's not me this time.
No,
that's when I joined.
I have never been in a room where Lethal isn't the most controversial person. This is the first time.
Yes,
dude, Lethal's my boy. I love Lethal, and I am surprised that he's not the most controversial person in this conversation.
This is fucking
Lethal. Step
I
up
mean,
your
I
game.
tried to bring it back to something pure. I wanted to talk about pickles.
That's the thing. I don't want him to step up his game because I don't want Lethal to have to go to that level. It's fine to stay where you are. We don't.
You should have heard what my second question was.
We know.
When you said you were going to ask one, I'm like, oh no, where's this?
We don't need to take it to the next level because we're beyond that next level. You know?
I don't think there is another level.
Yeah,
I think this is it.
When the train is gone,
Trust you
not
guys
beyond,
didn't say anything behind my back.
Not at all.
When the train is
Just preparing stuff.
when the train has gone off the track.
I mean, it's recorded. You can watch it back.
I'm gonna have to sit
But
down
I do
and
have water.
have a
I
talk.
do have water.
Water is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm lying. It's just vodka and a water.
Yeah, I was gonna
Hey, water
say
looks like
he went
vodka,
off
too.
screen just so he could pour his vodka into his water
He
bottle.
just doesn't want to
I'm
drink-
not judged.
This is why I will support
No,
underage
Arcasual,
drinking.
you are not allowed to ask that question. Lethal's not allowed to ask the second question.
So I have
It's
a
about
question.
perspective.
All right, extra girl.
I have a
Hopefully
question.
it doesn't kill Disparu, but go ahead.
No. This is we're steering the conversation. So
Perfect.
I was asked if I'm a geek or I'm a nerd. I
There's
don't
only
know
one
about
acceptable
how
answer.
you guys would feel. Are you geeks or are you nerds?
Geeks is offensive, nerds is accurate.
I'm a jock.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't accept jocks here. We're racist against jocks.
I consider myself a nerd, but I would accept any of those terms, to be honest.
I think Xray girl, I think she's a geek because she's like in geeky culture, but she's not like someone who's gonna deep dive into like lore and stuff like that.
Yeah,
She's just
that's
gonna
What's the definitions of geeks and nerds? I feel like everyone's
I don't
got
know.
different-
That's the
I
thing.
never knew there was
I
a
don't know.
definition.
There are definitions. So
Don't have a
geek, a
dictionary?
nerd is somebody that strives for like being smart, like being book smart or academically smart. A geek is somebody that is passionate about a specific subject matter.
Oh, so
But
now
Then
I
I'm a
think
nerd.
they
Well,
become
neither
in
are
our culture.
derogatory then.
In our culture, they become almost interchangeable. And yes, it used
Yeah.
to be extremely derogatory. Now they're kind of like a badge of honor because
They're just prey.
yeah, a
When
lot
I
of
was
stuff.
a kid, playing video games was an insult. So
Yeah,
So what's
exactly.
definitely changed.
So
Like,
what's
it's-
the word for a
Nice
geek
visuals.
nerd jock blend? Because that's me. I'm
A
a
retard?
Just Johnny.
An elitist.
Jer-
Like, me.
Jerg. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're a jerk.
you're just the elite. It's just called the
Jerk.
elite, okay?
So it's an acid reflux.
The true elite.
Take some
Yeah,
men.
I'm acid reflux. That's what I am.
So you're a combo. What would that be?
I've always said I'm nerd adjacent or
You're
geek
You can
just
be,
a
it's
jerk.
still a geek. You can be a
Yeah.
geek about sports. So
Oh, I am
Yeah.
a geek about sports.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
I don't know a damn thing about sports.
yeah. Well,
I
you
don't
don't
know.
like Shrek either, so I get
I
it.
played
We're not shocked.
I played football in high school and I swam in high school, but that was about it. Like I don't.
Did you play
So
like
you
Mormon
drank
football?
chlorinated
Because
water.
the way
Well,
the way
I
it
was
sounded.
homeschooled, but sports were the only thing I was allowed to do with the public school. So I did football with my junior high and my high school, and then swim team was just kind of a county thing. So it was like 3 different schools. We all
Okay,
had
so I have a
teams.
question for that. So if you accidentally drink like chlorinated water, what happens? Because technically it's got a flavor.
3 Hail Marys and no, that's Catholic. It's water adjacent, so it's okay.
so would you like to be an
So
Olympian?
everybody else is having like Gatorade, and you're having Arrowhead.
Yeah, it's a good reference. But yeah, no, I was very good at swimming in high school. Like I was top of the state. Like I was.
Well, you
very
literally
good.
only drank water, so you were basically one with it. Like
I know.
Oh.
Exactly. I was a
won with
fish.
the water in the water with me.
I wasn't allowed to compete because competition is anti-extremist Mormon. But I was good on the team. I was the best of anyone, but I wasn't allowed to actually take part of the swim competitions.
That's
It's
lame.
weird. It's really
That's a really convenient way to like excuse things. I'm going to use that from now on. I was the best at it. I just wasn't allowed to compete.
okay.
Speaking
Just
of
ruin
swimming,
Johnny's
can,
faces. I love it. I
can
love the
everybody on
faces.
panel swim here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swim. I
I
haven't
kind
gone for a
of
swim
thrown
in a
into
while.
the ocean. It was like, swim.
I
It's a
don't
real
like
specific
water.
question, Johnny.
I don't.
Well, because
like,
y'all have to save me then at the meetup if like I
Oh.
fall into a body of
You
water.
can't swim?
Didn't you
I
just call
was
yourself a
certified
jock and you
lifeguard
can't
at
swim?
one point, But I'm really
There's
tiny.
a lot of other sports that aren't water related, Disparu.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
Yeah,
what
but
you guys
all
do.
of them are completely useless if your boat sinks.
Yeah.
Just like you're in trouble.
All
Just
right,
like, do you not
Johnny.
live any beaches or something? Like,
No, I did.
because this
I
is
lived
fascinating to me.
close to
Oh, you know why?
Literally
You don't like.
walked to the
That
beach
is such an
5
Australian
minutes.
point of view. Did you not live next to a beach? It's like the UK is a really small island, but no, I'm not nowhere near a beach.
But the
I
funny
know
thing is
why
did
Johnny
live
doesn't
next to the
swim.
beach, but who like
Is it because he doesn't like to see his feet?
Yeah.
Wait,
it all makes
Johnny,
sense.
Johnny, which
That's
part
why
of the
those
country do
footy
you live in?
socks, right?
What
What's
part
that?
of the country? What like general geographic area do you live in?
Well, until about a year and a half ago, I was living in on the coast of California. Now I live in South Dakota.
But he doesn't like the beach because the sand gets in his socks.
The
so
state is this wide, and it's all beach.
I was just afraid of drowning. Okay, sharks are like.
That's why you go in the pool.
Nah, I hear that, Johnny. I hear that. I have a phobia of sharks.
Here's the thing.
Okay,
there's no reason to go in the ocean. It's full of things that can kill you. Just like Australia. That's why there's no reason to go to Australia. This is the thing.
X-Ray girl did
I
hear
just
part
want to
of
know.
the
I will
story,
kill
so
you the
I
second you
might.
land, Mike.
I believe
might
it.
know how to swim.
If you don't get me, it'll be the snakes or the spiders or even all the other shit that has poison in it for no reason.
Well,
Australia just sounds like Arizona.
We're poisonous mammals. It
Like
doesn't
my
make any
ex taught
sense.
me, and then she
How
broke
old
up with
were
me
you?
like 3 months later, and I've never swam since. And so I'm like,
So it's emotional damage.
Emotional.
No, because I was like 28 at that point. So
You old fucker.
I'm not even 28 yet.
I know you act
Wait,
like me. I'm
Lethal,
not
Lethal,
surprised.
how old
So-
are you?
I'm 27, so I've got like 6 months to live.
You're 27.
Wow.
27 club,
27?
baby.
You said you had till 32. You had a midlife crisis at 16.
Wait, hold
27
on.
club.
Blabbering, you're 25, right? Blab.
Yeah, I'll be 26 in May.
All right. Is anyone younger than 25
Lethal.
besides me?
No,
Lethal.
Lethal's 27.
I'm 27.
Lethal's 14.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
Lethal.
14.
Lethal, you, me, and Blabs are so fucking young compared to all these old farts.
Yeah, see, Blabs, I would have assumed. I would have assumed.
It's right
Blabs, I
around
would
the
have assumed was around my age. Honestly, Johnny, I thought was my fucking age. Johnny looks like someone that would be like in the same year level with me as at school. And then I find out he's a fucking traitor and he's just way above me.
Traitor. How dare you age?
How fucking dare you?
How dare you be born before me?
You should be climbing back up.
Did we
No,
even
it's
introduce
just I don't know what it
Pickles?
is about me. If
Yeah,
I took
Pickles
if I
is the
took off
last
my
one,
beanie
yeah.
and you saw my bald head, you'd be like, oh, he's 45. You know?
All right, OnlyFans moment here. All right, feet and head.
Do not show only.
I'm not showing my feet. I'll take my hat off. Yeah.
Oh, Johnny,
See?
rocking the.
You're
Look
looking.
at that, dude. I dig
I
it.
would not have
That's
guessed
clean.
that. I would
Fucking,
not
you
have
look
guessed
25.
Look at
that.
that
I mean,
shine.
I don't have to be, but I just shave it all off. Yeah.
I dig that.
It's all right. In a few years, I'll have to be. The rate this is going. It's
I'm
like,
because-
you'll all see it.
I know,
Because
just
everybody
pulling
gets-
out all the
Forehead,
Everybody gets
but-
scared of it, and to me, I think the most pathetic thing is when you see guys like desperately like trying to hang on to it. I'm like, you're
Hey,
gonna get
Johnny.
old and you're gonna die.
Yeah,
It's just like,
this is the
yeah,
thing, Johnny.
move on.
They're intimidated because they won't do it themselves. That's the biggest thing.
I don't
So
know.
I
People
accept
always
his
think-
My
language.
goal is to get a really thick beard and just get buff as hell and just look like Kratos. Like I'm
There you
fine.
go.
If you were like
good
Johnny,
goal.
if you were
That's
like
a
2
very good
years
goal.
younger, you'd be my best friend. But I'm sorry, you fucking
aged
screwed
out
me
of-
over
you
here on
aged
this
out of
one,
lethal
man.
You're too
friendship
old for
zone.
lethal.
Yeah,
I
you
really
aged out
wanted
of
to be
lethal
your best
friendship
friend,
zone.
Lethal. That's unfortunate for me. I think
There's
Yeah,
a-
you're missing
there's
out on a
very
wild
specific
ride.
age gap.
Yeah. So you have to end up like Mozart.
Oh God.
Oh
I would
god.
kill myself.
All right, everyone.
Oh god. You think
an
you
hour
got
and
a bad
10
Jed?
minutes-
You should meet Mozzo.
Jesus Christ. An hour and a half in, we've got one more introduction to do. We've got Biggles Metz, who is a regular on this channel as well. He's been on every single one of these SJW shows. But he's the first to get
SJW
kicked out
show?
if we have an extra. So
Change the name.
I did. It
Okay.
was originally
Against
Sons
my
of the
will.
Phoenix. Sons of the Phoenix was a placeholder, and then it just kind of worked out the way it did. But Biggles Metz, how's it going, man? It's an hour and a half in, and we haven't asked you how you're doing.
Hi, I'm Biggles. I'm chaotic neutral. I am the only member not on Geeks and Gamers, even though I do edit for 2 people on this stream. And that's it. That's all. And supposedly, I am the person that asks for feet pics because I am supposedly a different account.
Oh yeah, he's Brianna.
So, for those of you who don't know, Blabbering and I do a weekly live stream of the Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga in preparation for the Skywalker saga that's about to come out. And there's this strange person that shows up that simps for Blabs hard. Her name.
I love this person.
Her name's
weird.
Brianna.
It's weird.
I don't know why we haven't seen her yet, but she simps for her hard. Like her first quote was, her first comment was like, "Blabbering, will you sit on my face?" Like it was. It was quite aggressive, and
I
so
swear it's not me. I
You
fucking
could be a
swear.
fan. Like, you could be a huge fan. You could be in the chat over and over again. Like, Blabs, I love you, Blabs. Like, Tugs, that's her entire
I
audience. It's just
swear to
people who
God,
love
that's not
Tugs.
me.
But they don't
The
go
last video I
that
published-
far. Like, you gotta take it a few steps back. Don't be
Exactly.
jealous, okay?
No,
My last
fuck
video
you.
got a comment that just said, my last video got a comment that just said, I like men that wear glasses. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's,
I straight up just
it's
said
not
we
as
all.
severe.
Yeah, I straight up admitted I was just like we all objectify Disparu.
We
Well,
do.
yeah.
I wanna-
Look, it's
yeah.
the accent. It tricks people. Like visually,
Speaking-
you're like no, but then you open, you're like, oh no.
I think ladies like the
Like it
sound
fucking
of the
matters,
British
you know.
Well,
accent.
We're just hey.
Speaking
if-
of the accent, any woman who I meet who has a British accent is
I have
immediately
glasses
a
too,
plus
isn't
it?
3. It's a plus 3. So a woman I meet who is a 4 has a British accent, she's immediately a 7. Or is that how math works?
I haven't gotten
So
dressed. That's why I'm
British
not saying
accents do a great deal for me. So that's my
It depends on the accent though. It's like people don't often hear sort of Birmingham or like
That's true.
Birmingham. Oh, my name's Dave from Birmingham. It doesn't really have the same ring to it.
Right.
You know?
No,
That's
I
how
love,
Americans think you guys talk, though.
No, I love North London. I hate South London, and Wales is a close
Wait,
second to
what
North.
is the
Well,
Lethal, what
Wales
is or,
isn't English.
Disparu, what is
Wales
the
is
most
own.
the most common accent? Because you said something when I use a British accent before. You're like everybody does that one. What is the one that everybody uses?
Well, the one that most people do is sort of the received pronunciation one, which is sort of what the BBC used to be. Sort of
Gotcha.
the traditional posh kind of guy walking around in bowler hat kind of accent.
Gotcha.
And then your other one would be sort of, you know what, your Mary Poppins, like your
Yep.
Tracer kind of accent. That's probably the second most. No one thinks of sort of Newcastle or Liverpool when they think
Oh,
of
I
English
love
accents.
Liverpool.
And then you get into Scottish and Welsh, which, you know, entirely different nations. I know they all come under British, but no one really deems it that way.
I think of the voices from Warcraft 3 for the British.
You
Don't
haven't seen
expect-
enough Doctor Who yet.
I know
haven't
all
played
the
Warcraft.
officers in Star Wars are all British.
Biggles, you
Like,
said you
it's
were a
the
jock.
evil
That's not a
accent.
very jock thing to say.
Yeah. All right, Disparu, since you're talking about Britishness, what's the
Britishness.
best Doctor in your Britishness opinion?
Oh, Tennant,
It's
easily.
not a question. Like
Yeah, it literally wouldn't be. Now, I've not seen the original ones. I
See,
came
neither
into
have
the-
I.
He's not really British.
Oh, you gonna kick me out too again?
He's not really British.
I stand by Disparu, even
Yes.
though I only kind of like the 10th Doctor.
You can't kind of like. You
I'm
just like.
disgusted
It's
with you.
just.
I don't like that you keep going by numbers because I don't know which number any of them are. I just
Biggles?
know
Well,
that-
exactly. Use
David
that name.
Tennant.
I
David
don't
Tennant.
know their names.
Biggles
David
hates
Tennant.
the 9th Doctor, Disparu. Biggles hates the 9th Doctor.
I don't know
Isn't
the
that
names either.
Christopher
Wait, hang
Eccleston?
on. Ninth.
That is wrong.
that Christopher
Christopher Eccleston.
Yes.
Yeah, Eccleston
He
second.
sucks.
A
And
close
I hate
second,
Rose.
actually.
I've
I
heard
hate
that
Rose.
Eccleston was actually really good. So
He
The
was
thing
really
is, I
good.
like about
I don't know.
Doctor. I
Oh,
like
did
Doctor
you
Who
not?
because
You
of kind
heard
of
that? You
the
just
darker
watched?
storylines. So I like the more sort of the War Doctor kind of
I'm
style,
I actually agree
like
with
the
you.
damage kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
when you get into after Tennant, it becomes a lot more child friendly. He's a lot happier kind of stuff. And it's like, ah. Now there
Yeah.
are some moments when he gets into kind of the darker aspects of
Right.
his personality. I like him, but the whole fish fingers and custard stuff, I'm not. I'm too old for that. I'm too
When-
old for that.
When he regenerated and he's drinking the fish fingers and custards, that's the moment I started crying. I'm not gonna
Of
lie.
course he did.
I don't know what he was eating. I was
Look
like,
at
what the
Disparu's
fuck is
face.
this? I
You
have
don't know
no
fish
idea.
fingers?
No, I don't know
What?
any of
Wow.
that shit.
Didn't you
Wow.
watch it?
Biggles.
Yeah, I
Biggles,
watched it. I had no idea what he was eating.
Biggles.
Fish
Fish fingers are
fingers.
fish sticks. Fish
Oh.
fingers and fish sticks are the
No,
same.
it's literally just fingers.
See, I don't understand the
it's like
British.
fish don't
Okay,
have fingers.
the best
Yeah,
thing
I
that
know, I
happened
love that
was
line. I
we
love that
came
line.
away from the British, and that's when history started. 1776.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
fish
1812 was a good year.
No,
For
Disparu,
you guys, maybe.
Disparu, you're not really British unless you've seen Classic Who. I was literally watching
That's not a
Second
thing.
Doctor from
No, that's not. You
1969.
just made that up.
sticks.
I was literally
I
watching
like how American is telling
1969.
British.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. A non-British guy
Yeah, right.
telling a British guy what he needs to do to be
He
British.
wants to be British. Okay, he
Mike-
wants
I
to be
do.
British.
I do.
You are British.
I actually might be moving to
There is a
Britain
flag in the
in the
background.
next year.
Right.
Well, I just got
Oh,
to
is
point
that
In
out
my bedroom, I have a giant Union flag, but not Union Jack because I know the difference.
One's
Wow.
out at sea.
Exactly. I've seen.
I have
Doctor
no
Who.
idea what's going on.
this is the first time I've ever seen somebody like the equivalent of like a weeaboo, but for British people.
I'm a beat for Britishness. Look what's on my other monitor.
Yeah,
as we speak.
there's no Japanese sword in the background. It's a British flag and like the cane sword and the bowler hats, and he's like, "Oh man, I like that a lot."
This is 1969.
I've got a mole sword in the background.
This is 1969 Doctor Who.
I just can't get into it. It's just
Those are the real Martians.
I've seen some of them, but only from like TV. I've not gone back and watched them.
Yes, I have.
Emma
friends-
Watson has no boobs, man. You can fucking rollerblade over her chest without a bump.
This man likes Brie Larson and thinks Emma Watson is fucking no boobs.
She
Fuck
doesn't
him.
have boobs. It's a fact. Have you?
I have bigger titties than Emma Watson.
Listen, even
You
Blabs
can
is
hate
like,
me,
it's
but you
true.
can't hate the truth.
No, I can hate the truth because
Just because
Have you seen the
people
new
got
photograph?
stuff for you doesn't mean you need to decorate your room
Hey,
with it, though.
well, that's the thing.
You're like, I claim no
They're
responsibility,
gifts.
but I
They're
hung it
gifts.
up everywhere.
every
Okay.
single one of those are gifts from
It's
other
a nice
people.
deflection. I
You know,
didn't buy this
if you ever
porn.
wanted to have a child, you could just get onto the pictures of Emma Watson and collect
Yeah,
the...
I didn't buy this Playboy magazine. It just showed up on my door.
Under
Don't
my
hang it on
bed,
my wall.
magically.
It's
Wow.
not my fault. How dare you?
So the storks bring babies.
Fuck you,
These drugs are mine.
Arcasul, you're banned.
That depends what he means by your taste in women, because you've got visually, and then you've got them as a person.
I love
literally
the guy
that
running the SJW
So,
show.
that
is
is
the
a
one
good
banning everybody,
distinction.
censoring everyone, kicking them off screen for their opinion.
That
was
is a
in the
good
name, wasn't it?
distinction. That is a good distinction because Emma Watson I hate as a person, but I think she's the epitome of the perfect woman.
What?
How does that work?
Hey,
How does
I
that
hate
work?
her as a person, but I
you
think
hate
she's the
her.
she's the
How do you
epitome of
think
the
she's
perfect woman.
perfect?
Yeah, that
her
doesn't make
looks.
sense. Like,
I just
I'm curious.
ignore everything
you have to be
women
more
say.
specific then.
She is
Maybe-
the
maybe-
perfect 10. There is
In what
no
way?
other 10 in
Alright,
human
I
existence
can't
besides
What about the
explain
latest
this.
photograph?
What about Kate
It's a
Upton?
bad photo.
She
Huh.
likes baseball and huge tits. Okay, Kate Upton.
I want to hear the women's takes on this.
Yeah.
I've heard so many bad takes.
So Emma Watson? Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta point out real quick.
No, no,
because
sorry.
we
More
wanna hear the women's
specifically on
takes,
how she can be a 10, but he hates her.
But
Because he's
Erudi
saying
immediately
that-
jumped in. Like,
Basically, she's beautiful, but
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Right,
She's
so
a fucking
basically, he would
retard.
do her, but he wouldn't marry her.
exactly, he would be like goodbye the next morning, never again.
Yeah, but
That's
you have to-
not
you have
Brie
to
Larson.
specify perfect then. Perfect.
Okay.
She looks perfect physically to him.
She
I'm
does.
shocked
That's a
that
better
Yes,
comic
that is
came
a
out
good
of Lethal's
distinction,
mouth.
X-Ray Girl.
I have-
Even for me, that's shallow.
Lethal
Yes.
actually said he wants to hear the ladies.
I objectify her to the highest degree, but
But-
that's it.
That's why I like dolphin style with her. She doesn't say anything.
What
my
the
God.
fuck is dolphin
I've
style?
no
I don't
idea. I
wanna
think that was
know.
No.
Wait,
That was
hold
our
on,
creation.
hold on.
Thank God for Google.
Because I did a whole thing. I did a whole podcast on dolphins, and this could get really dark.
What?
So
I
I'm
was
really
just-
hoping-
I was
I'm really
just
hoping
gonna-
that you don't
podcast
go the
on
way I think you're gonna
dolphins?
go with dolphins.
I was
Why?
just going to
Don't do
say,
this.
is that the...
Can we go back to
God,
these?
what is going on?
It's a song.
So anyway,
Dolphin
yeah.
style.
I'm so
If
disappointed.
anybody wants
yeah,
to give
Johnny,
us
you don't like
swimming
meat.
lessons,
Let's
that'd be
rewind. Let's
awesome.
rewind.
I was a certified lifeguard. I'll help you out. But I can help.
Okay.
Hey, Johnny, you can swim with me. I don't swim anywhere where my feet can't
Do you
touch
want
the
to go
ground.
swimming with dolphins?
No, no.
God,
Yeah,
Lethal.
don't swim with dolphins.
I was like, oh,
I don't think I'm ready to trust Jen with my life. To be
All right.
honest.
Yeah, just let me
Alright.
drown.
All right.
This song might be the
Yes.
most honest thing I've ever seen in my life. Sorry.
Alright.
I got distracted.
For everyone who doesn't know,
Wow.
dolphin style is doggy style,
Oh my God.
but you
Not in the
pinch
song.
their nipples so
stop.
they make a type sound.
Stop.
What the fuck is this shit? You're scaring X-Ray Girl.
The lyrics of the song are "You give me diamonds, I give you nothing." So
Wow. Wow. So
Okay,
anyway,
you like the first screen?
So G4, what's up with
I need an
that?
adult.
I do.
sexism in gaming.
All right. So G4 has taught me there's nothing greater
sexism in gaming.
than meat hitting a woman in the face.
Wait,
So
what?
make sure you hit your
Style.
women in the face with meat.
Dolphin
What
style.
kind?
So we were starting to get
He was
back on
ham.
track with the second train, and now
Here we go.
we're
Here
off.
we go. We're on train. Good.
There we go.
I have articles pulled up. An hour and a half in, I do have articles pulled
Shit,
up.
what fucking
I
time?
believe you.
Look at this. This is all topics I planned on talking about. I was
that's-
figuring that we'd be
You're meant
this.
to be leading us.
I
Yeah.
figured that we'd be halfway through. I figured we'd be this far through by the time we got to an hour and a half in.
I actually have to get going.
Intros.
Lethal has to go.
Yeah, I
Lethal
do have
has
to
to
get
go.
going.
You
Yeah,
gay
yeah.
motherfucker.
We were almost back on the train.
We
And
were
then...
doing it. We were like the train was like
Elden Ring.
rocking.
We were
Elden
there.
Ring.
Yeah,
I was
Elden
just
Ring.
playing
I've got to
it.
go.
Oh
I've got to go
my
dolphin
God.
style. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye,
Yeah.
Lethal.
All right,
Lethal.
bye, Lethal.
Later,
Thanks for
Lethal.
being here.
Okay, who plays Elden Ring here?
I do. I just made a video
Yeah.
on it.
I
Oh,
do
it's
sometimes.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
I actually haven't seen Johnny's video on it yet, but I did.
You won't like it. Don't go there. You'll
Wait,
dislike
wait.
it.
You have a video? Oh, Gaming with Geeks?
No, on my personal channel. Yeah. Well,
I
you
was
said
like,
you
alright.
don't like the game. That's why I said that. You were unhappy with it, which I'm
Wait,
curious
so
to hear
what,
why.
why
All right.
don't you? Like,
So yeah, this is a great opportunity. We finished introduction, so we'll get into Elden Ring. So when it comes to video games, for me, the story is most important. When it comes to all forms of entertainment, the story is most important. But with all Dark Souls games, I've actually played the third one as well. I modded the shit out of it, so it took me 2 hours to play. But all Dark Souls type games, I didn't really enjoy because you had to search for the story. There wasn't really cutscenes for it. There wasn't Witcher 3 style scenes for it. So I recognize Elden Ring as one of the greatest games of the last year and a half because of the gameplay of it. But I also recognize, because Shadiversity actually just put out a video today also as well, mocking the story, which I watched, which I 100% agree with, because it may be good from a gameplay standpoint. It may be amazing from a gameplay standpoint, but there's not really a story to it that you don't have to hunt for. You don't understand what's going on unless you either watch a lore video or you hunt for the story. And that I don't appreciate. I recognize it as a good game. I realize that Elden Ring is one of the top games for the last year. But I also realize that it doesn't have a story to it up front to the users, and that's what I'm interested in. So Ocarina of Time, one of my favorite games of all time, has a great game, but Elden Ring doesn't. So that's what I value games as, and I am talking in
Neither
such a
does
slurred-
Warzone.
Absolutely. That's why I don't like Call of Duty as a franchise.
Well,
I-
any multiplayer game.
Okay, but hold on. But Modern
Pretty much.
Warfare 2 actually has like a really good story.
That is actually the only Call of Duty game that I've actually played the multiplayer or the campaign.
Modern Warfare
for.
1 has a good story leading into Modern Warfare 2.
Right.
I mean-
so yeah, Modern Warfare 2 is actually the only multiplayer I've ever played when it came to. It's actually the only Call of Duty game I've ever played. So I do recognize Modern Warfare 2 as a great story game. But my opinion, where story is the most important, gameplay can literally be dog shit compared to the story, and I won't give a shit. But the story has to be good. So I will turn it over to our gaming experts, literally the middle row here for us, and Xray Girl.
I don't have Nichols. He can't turn the TV on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
this is
gonna say
outrageous. If I can't get the rest of the Met game going, I'm going to throw my sister's controller.
Nichols
through the
can't
TV.
operate a controller
Black
that does
going in
literally
the
only
private
one
chat,
thing: is
she
turn on a
knows it.
TV and change the
Freaking
channel.
Guardian Leviosa.
He's doing the
Wow.
he's doing the classic TV remote thing as well, where when it doesn't work, he just presses the buttons harder. Like that's gonna do anything.
He's
The
just
batteries
slap
will
the
get energy if I
controller.
shake the controller.
You want to know what's
Press the
funny?
buttons harder.
I turned it off and turned it back on again by taking out the batteries, and now it's working.
That is
It's
half
like
my
British
job.
people on holiday. If we talk to someone who's foreign that doesn't understand English, we just repeat ourselves slower and louder. It's like, no, I want a pizza. It's like they have no idea what you're saying, but it'll work anyway.
That's how we speak Spanish in Arizona.
It
Well,
really is.
We speak Italian.
Everyone
We just
does
add an
that.
O on to the end of everything. That'll do.
That's how I speak French. I spoke French really good in high school, but I don't anymore.
Just say you
He
speak French.
French.
Are you speaking French now?
I am.
I spec
Haven't
OT
you
Frencho.
noticed? No, I gotta tell the story. Blabs has heard it before, but I went to France while I was a Mormon with my parents and my sister, and I was in a market full of French people. But I knew French enough to know that this French dude was holding this French sausage up to this woman and saying, "Oh, this has got nothing on me." In French, I understood that enough to die laughing. But I couldn't tell my parents what was going on because I would get the shit beat out of me. So I know French enough to understand that, but not any more than that. So I will turn this gaming conversation that started a while ago. Again, dude. The gaming...
French sausage.
I know enough about French to know when a guy's hitting on a woman, but not enough to
by waving his sausage at him.
He's like, I know enough about French to understand dick jokes.
Yep.
Wow.
That's it.
Yep.
So Elden Ring.
Yeah, I really want to hear Disparu's
Yes.
take on it now that he's been playing it.
Yes.
Did you start playing it?
I'm about 30 hours in, 34 hours in, or something like that.
Oh.
I've just got past the academy bit, the magic section.
Oh, I just got there. I'm scared.
The boss is the first one. I'm like, I screw this. Like, they was one-shotting me. So I went away, I leveled up about 5 or 6 levels, came back, and suddenly I can stagger her, and I one-shot her easily. I don't know what it was about those 5 levels that changed everything, but it was like a completely different boss. It was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that the gameplay is good. I have changed my mind on sort of... I thought at first that I wanted to know stuff like the summons and stuff, but the more I play through it, the more it seems like if you miss something, they've deliberately added in things where you'll eventually hit it anyway. So you almost can't miss a lot of stuff which is required, like summons and stuff. So that's decent. But as far as story goes, I'm not even sure story's necessary for gaming if the gameplay's good.
Right.
Like, because if you'd say that, you're against all multiplayer games. And I'm sure a lot of people are, they just don't want to play multiplayer stuff. But I think that multiplayer games wouldn't be as successful as they are if that was a widely held opinion. Now, I also agree that Elden Ring... Go on.
Not even just multiplayer. I mean, think of Mario, right? I mean, what's the story to jumping on Goombas and kicking turtles around?
Yeah, I personally, I think it just really depends on the game itself, because I'm actually a lot of time on the opposite end, where even if it's a good story, I get a little bit frustrated. I'm like, just make a movie or make a TV show if you just want to tell a story, because there's a lot of games where it feels like nowadays where you're just trying to get to the next cutscene. It's like, I liked the Walking Dead universe back when The Walking Dead was actually a good show, and the Walking Dead Telltale games came out, and those were like critically acclaimed. Everybody loved them. And they were all right. They were kind of fun. But at a certain point, I realized I'm just trying to get to the next cutscene to see what happens, and then make like a decision within the cutscene that's going to direct the story. But nobody likes this game for the gameplay itself. It's all just about you want to see what happens next in the story. And that's kind of turned me off a little bit too. So the thing I like about Elden Ring and why I don't mind as much about the story is because I felt like Dark Souls kind of set that tone earlier on, where a lot of the story is just really interpretive and it's kind of open to how you kind of interpret it. I've seen a lot of videos breaking it down and drawing all kinds of different conclusions. And I don't know, for its own kind of thing, I think that's kind of cool. So I don't know. I'm really loving it. I think the game's gorgeous. I think the fact that you pay $60 for this game and you get potentially hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of it compared to other games that you pay $60 for, which is still great. Like a game like Metroid Dread, absolutely love it. But I was done with it in like 13 hours on my first playthrough. And some people finish it the first time and they won't play it again. So I'm very happy with Elden Ring because I feel like there's just so much meat to it and everything. Yeah. I get what you're saying from the story, but it's not a deal breaker for me.
Right.
The value for money from... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, something I really like about the game is that you can play so many different types of characters and build these characters all differently. And basically that's your story almost, because you can be something with magic, you could be using a different weapon and using a different shield or armor, and then figuring out, how do I want to attack these enemies? How do I strategize? Should I have more potions? Should I have more healing items? And should I level up my vigor or my strength? Like, you have to figure out what's going to work for you and tell your own story in the game in that sense. And you can jump back and forth. I think that's the cool part too, like that travel between your grace points. And plus, I know that there's not a set story, but the grace points have these little like trickly stars that kind of lead you to places. So it kind of leads you to a certain type of story point throughout the game. I think that is really helpful too.
I get what you're saying. Just to jump in again real quick, Jed, if I'm putting it in the context of like maybe the greatest video games of all time, could I put it in there if it doesn't have a great story alongside of it? I don't know. That part I'd have to think about. Like, because if you want a game that brings everything, maybe I'd have to consider that. But for what my expectations were, like, I'm very, very happy with it. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised that it really is just like, other than the story, it's Dark Souls 4. Like, technically it's a different universe, but I was just like, dude, it's like the same game. The animations are the same. Some of the enemies even are copy and pasted. And honestly, I loved the Dark Souls game. So it's nice sometimes when you get something that's like, you know what? I really just want more of this. Can we do this again? And a lot of times they're just looking to innovate in so many ways that they kind of get away from what was originally awesome about the original games. And it's like, it really is just like a bigger, more open world that's a lot like Dark Souls. And I'm so happy with that. So,
well, one thing I would say is that the whole idea of, I've seen some people try to defend its lack of story. Like, no, it really does have a good story. And this was in the Shadowversity thing where he's like, no, if you go outside of it and look up these videos, then it's a great story. It's like, no, that's just a badly designed, badly developed story.
Sure.
And it can be criticized for that. I don't think it needs to be defended. You can just go, well, it was badly designed and that was a weak part of the thing, but the game is great, the value for money is great, and all this kind of stuff. I do think if you have to go outside of the game to look up a third-party YouTube video to understand anything, you haven't done your job as a game developer. So if the developers came out and said, well, we didn't actually intend it to have that much of a story, then I'd be all for it. But if they came back and defended it as, oh no, well, somebody else did the work for us, then I'd be like, no, that's a genuine criticism.
I mean, because that's the kind of thing you're supposed to do if you're a nerd and you want to get deeper and more invested into the lore itself. But to not completely understand the story going through it, like you could easily watch Lord of the Rings and understand what's going on, even if you're not familiar with the universe at all. But you could still then go watch YouTube videos and dive into it more afterwards. So
the difference between like core story and sort of bonus things which were added in that you might have missed. That's a good point.
That's 100%
Well, from a viewer's perspective, I actually don't mind the lack of story because, I could be watching a stream, go away, come back, and be like, oh, okay, Mike's just still getting his ass kicked and grab the popcorn. I don't have to worry too much about what I'm
Jealous. No, I think that part of the appeal of RPGs in general, like Xray Girl said, is that you're making your own character in a world, and there is a story to experience. But part of it also is nice because you can kind of just do your own thing, and however you narratively, experience the world, it's kind of its own story. And inherently with Souls games, it's overcoming a challenge or overcoming a difficult boss, things like that. So it lends itself to some narrative purpose. But the actual story itself, because it's not easily found, because you have to do as much work as you do, you can argue that the story isn't inherently good because you shouldn't have to, like Disparu said, you shouldn't have to look for it. But the thing we all like about RPGs, and the reason I think everybody's having such a fun time with it, is because they're saying, cool, I'm on a journey for myself. I'm experiencing, hardships, and I'm overcoming like difficult bosses or learning a different build or watching my character develop, and excited when I get new things to like use with my character. So it's kind of a either or, but also if you know what you're getting into with Souls games, the story is going to not be easily accessible. That's kind of just a side part of the game, is that you can also find the narrative and dig that out and also kind of enjoy the narrative if you figure it out. So
and that's partially why I recognize Elden Ring as an objectively great game, because a lot of people find enjoyment from that searching for the story. But that's also why I feel like The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games ever made, because those decisions of just going out into the world and doing whatever you want affects the story, but you still get the story along with it. That I feel like makes it above Elden Ring in the sense that it very much is based on your decisions, but there is still a story to go along with those decisions. It's not like Elden Ring where you just do whatever you want and it still kind of cycles you into the same ending. The Witcher 3 has tons of different endings. I think the count was 10 different endings. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but there's a ton of different endings. And that's what I love, because I'm a story creator myself. My books, I make jokes about it earlier in the stream, but being creative is the most important thing to me. The writing of this book series is the most important thing to me. So that creative sense is why I go into gaming. That's why I go into television shows and movies, because I love great stories. And so that's why I separate them two. But I can also recognize at the same time that Elden Ring has a great gameplay and a great story, despite myself not being attuned properly to the method in which it is demonstrating that story.
Yep.
I have 10 hours into Elden Ring and I still haven't found the first quest. So I'm just like rolling around trying to figure out how things work and then kill them. So I spend more time rolling around than I actually do fighting. I'm just like, roll, okay, he does this, roll, he does this, roll, he does this. All right, I got him beat. And then when I go in close, he does something different. I'm like, shit, roll. Let's figure it out.
I do that all the time.
It's like I don't really like Elden Ring, but that's only because I'm spending more time actually like learning what they're doing so I can kick their ass than actually kicking their ass.
Right.
So, that's part of it.
Yeah, I know, but for me it's like I want to go kick your ass. I don't want to study you and then go kick your ass, right? I don't want to spend 5 minutes dodging and learning everything you do to go kick your ass. I just want to go in there and kick your ass like I do in actual like life. Like I haven't been training to fight since I was little to like just let you like come at me and I just run around the ring for like a minute, 2 minutes figuring out what you're doing and then like, okay, I'll go in now. I go straight in and force the fight, and I can't do that in Elden Ring. I gotta sit back more. So like I want to go in and kick your ass. I have to take that back. So Elden Ring's a fun game. It's not for me. I like getting the strategies, but I don't like how long it takes me to get the strategy down before I go.
But see, I'm gonna try to combat that a little bit real quick, because
go for it.
I like it for the reasons that you don't like it, but I also understand why you don't.
Yeah.
But
No, absolutely.
I like the fact that it forces you to get good. It forces you to play its way. Because I am I've noticed this about myself. I'm just a very aggressive gamer. Like when it comes to like Mario Kart, even for example, if I could have a shell and I could protect myself and secure second place, but Jeremy's right in front of me and I can risk everything and smack his ass and maybe I'll win. Just that chance that maybe I'll win, I'm going for that. You know, I'm tossing that shell and I'm defenseless. And then like Smash Brothers or any game. So when I played Dark Souls the first time, I was like, oh, it's all offense, baby. I'm not waiting to see what the enemy does. And the game was just like, no, you're not going to play that way. Like I was getting wrecked.
I don't have a shit ton of deaths, right?
Yeah.
Because I study it, but I don't have a shit ton of deaths because I waste all my time rolling around trying to figure out what they do.
Sure.
And then I go in and kick their ass.
This is why I like it, because most games aren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like those games are a dime a dozen. I mean, not a dime a dozen. They're like a penny a dozen now. There's so few games that actually expect the gamers to get good and not beat it on the first playthrough. So it's like, I don't want those to stop existing. So when I feel like people are going at games like Elden Rings or the Dark Souls games and saying, you know, I wish they were more accessible. They weren't this difficult. They didn't take as much time. I'm like, that's the last bastion, dude. Like when that's gone, that's a dead breed.
Yeah.
And so I want to see those games sticking around.
Yeah.
Well, and also like, so I'm also like Johnny. I'm very aggressive. Like if I can't just like playing Pokemon, if my Pokemon don't have all offensive like abilities, like they're failing. I don't take time to heal my Pokemon. I need to kill your Pokemon before he kills mine. And then we'll just keep loading this up and one of us is going to run out before the other one. Like that's how I play about a lot of things. I even like Magic the Gathering. I don't do defensive. It's all like, let's go. This game, I picked a Magic build because I heard that it was broken enough that I could play similar to that. The reason I die is rarely because, oh shit, I'm learning how this works. It's because I threw too many spells into at and I couldn't get away in time. Like that's usually what it is, or I couldn't block. I don't block
Or because you fall off a cliff.
I'm trying to throw more spells. Listen, cliffs happen because you're trying to jump on the mountains that should be able to be jumpable. That was stupid as shit. But I don't know. I think there can be a balance to it. The game is designed to be difficult and be hard to beat because you have to figure out the strategy. But then to me, specifically with video games, it means that learning how to min-max or learning what works really well to like make your character more powerful, you can. I've watched guys get builds where they can one-shot a lot of the bosses and be that aggressive because they took the time to learn how those builds work too. So I think
I'm sorry, is someone traveling back in time?
It's kind of so weird
noise on the stream.
I think it's
They're
the
a
potato
fan.
that Erudi is. Is that you, Erudi? Nope, it wasn't
No.
him.
It's like I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw a Lego
think
DeLorean
so.
with that sound effect, and it's like all I can think of when you were talking.
It's not me, is it?
Oh, I think it's Blabs.
Is it?
Fucking
Is that
Blab.
Fran?
She has a terrible microphone, so that's probably it.
It was you, Blabs. Bring it closer
It's
to
not
you.
been there for the rest of it.
Way to go.
Yeah, this is the first time that we've heard it, Blabs. Honestly,
Look at you
were
guys
fine.
trying to blame
Well,
me.
no, it was
Well,
in the beginning of the
It sounds
stream.
like you're
and
screaming into a potato, Erudi. I'm just going to be on your side here.
To be fair,
that
it was
better?
in the beginning of the
I
stream,
think it's
and
good now.
whenever
Yeah.
he didn't have his mic muted, that's why I blamed him. I'm sorry. But
I'm
Epic
not-
Mike,
I'm
God,
please tell me you are the barbarian in the group.
Hell no. No.
Ah, but that's all in fucking kick your ass all day.
No. See, a barbarian is restricted by I have to fight things because I'm angry. Okay? You play a class that goes, I can hit you just as hard as you can hit me, and if you hit me, you're going to have a bad day. So you play a paladin, or you play like a fighter with a dual-wielding fighter
tiefling
or
then.
something.
Just be a
No,
tiefling then.
I don't play. I also don't play anything other than human and elf. So, yeah, I don't play others. I can play a human and still beat the shit out of you. So, like, I don't need class racial bonuses and stuff like that. We're fine. I play a human.
Human and elf
paladin.
have the best
You've had
fucking
enough of those.
racials though.
No, listen. I didn't have
I
to play
don't
a
need-
tiefling to do
This
that.
sounds like some D&D crap I don't give a shit
It
about.
is.
Well, until you play D&D, you won't know how it feels. But anyways, yeah, I just think that there is the game, even though it's designed to be hard,
Right.
will reward you for figuring out how to be aggressive too. You can play both sides of it, but you have to know what style of play rewards that kind of aggressive style.
Yeah, I have to restart as a fucking mage or whatever the fuck they are. The ones with the magic.
Yeah.
Because those are aggressive as fuck.
You'll enjoy it more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what
I've
I'm
been able to
MMA.
be pretty aggressive now as a samurai. I just couldn't be at first.
Yeah.
But once you get some levels in you and you get the HP to take the hits, you can.
HP, so cute.
Horsepower?
That's what the-
health points. What? That's
You fucking said
It's
that.
because
in-game
it's because
people
you say
HP.
H.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't say your vigor. Oh, it's not. Oh,
No, it's
we're gonna
because you
change
say
your name
H.
for absolutely no reason.
You pronounce
H.
H's. We call them
H.
H. You call it H.
Disparu. She said
Yeah,
it was.
that
I think it's
Canadian.
technically.
There's a lot of guys who
It's
would
just
kill
that's a
to
personal
have
thing rather than
extra
a
girls
no,
say something
it's
about.
Oh my god.
It's like
It's
Extra
also-
girl
no,
finally says something, and it's the garbage of H. Extra girl, come
No,
on.
it's
no,
like
my
when
best
you're in-
friend is Irish, and she always says H, and it just reminds me of
Fuck
her.
the Irish. The Irish hate the Scottish and the
What?
Idahoans. So I hate the Irish.
Everyone in Britain all hates all the other countries. It's part of our culture.
Yeah,
Right.
we all do in
It's the
America too.
rivalry.
We all
As
hate the
America,
Even though we
we
talk
hate
the
the
same,
British the most,
similarly.
and then everybody else.
That's
Well,
fine. I like to check in on American culture to see how the colonies are getting on.
Well, I'm
Oh, look at you guys over there trying to thrive. Like,
Yeah. So
I'm Scottish,
No,
so I
we
hate
made you.
everyone.
That's no.
It's because
No,
it's
no.
just like when Krista says, like, why do you call me Krister? It's just your accent and they don't understand it. I get
Yeah, I
it.
don't understand. Like young Ripper, not Lady Ripper, said the same thing. It's like Ripper. I was like, as far as I'm concerned, you've said what I've just said back to me, but apparently I'm saying something else. I still don't get it.
Yeah. No, you're good.
At least you have a decent explanation of why it sounds weird to them.
It's a
like
good
Jay
reason.
just says Krista's name wrong all the time, and he doesn't
Yeah.
have an accent.
As he said,
It's true.
Yeah,
What does he
Krista was
say?
like,
Chris,
you're
like,
saying
he says
Krista, my name's
Crystal a
Krista.
lot. Like he just has brain farts, and he calls her Crystal like all the time.
Yeah.
She gets pretty upset about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Krista doesn't get upset about anything.
She gets upset.
She
when
got
you
upset
call her
about me
Crystal.
Yeah, she got upset with me about swearing at her. She was
That's
like,
true.
"Mike,
She
Oh,
did.
yeah, oh, yeah, that was a big
Where?
one.
Krista got upset with
Oh
me
hell
before,
yeah!
too.
Yeah, she
I-
He treated,
Yeah.
he
That's
treated
what he
it
did.
like
Fuck
Jay
you, Krista.
Hailstorm.
Yeah, he just said, "Fuck you, whoever." That's Mike's
No,
thing.
he said bitch.
No.
Bitch is what set her off.
No, it was me saying "fuck you, Krista" that set her off. And then when I
Was
said "bitch," she was also like, "You know what? Let's stop all the
Sure,
swearing." And I was like,
F me.
Yeah, she's
I'm a
like,
military man. Swearing is just normal lingo.
I'm not
Okay,
a military
well,
man. I just
Krista's
have
not
the
a
knowledge.
He's just like
He's not used to.
I'm Italian. The only word we know is fuck. Okay, it's the only
That's
word
the
we know
best
is
word
Italian.
in the
And
dictionary.
pizza.
And
pizza.
That's the
Fucking
second best.
pizza, exactly.
All right. Well, we're back to our host. So yeah, that's Elden Ring.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we covered Elden Ring very well with a lot of different opinions, which is great. But we actually have Blams, who has some very strong opinions about the current situation with the.
I was gonna say, I
Harry
got nothing on Elden Rings. Don't do this.
What's
No,
my opinion on Elden Ring?
no, she chatted me this morning and she's like, I'm so excited to talk about the new Harry Potter game and J.K.
Yeah.
Rowling.
Yeah, did you guys see that?
I did.
No, what did she
Okay.
say?
So I think it's great, but like, did you guys notice that it says you start off in your 5th year? Why? What's
don't know
the
what that
excuse?
means.
That makes no sense.
I don't know what it
You-
means, but I know it.
You're
Like,
5
but
years
you
into
start
school.
off in your 5th year. You didn't go to Hogwarts first, second, third, or 4th year. So you just
well,
learn all your
that's good.
spells.
Maybe-
How is
They
that?
just say there's a reason for that.
Maybe they went to the American school. That's in those
Then you
Fantastic
know you
Beasts
transfer and
movies.
you would know your spells if you went to another school.
Yeah, so you're 15 years old when you start the game.
They
That's
they
That
said
makes no sense because like Dumbledore like sent a million letters to Harry. He sent Hagrid to Harry. He went to everything to get Harry to school. Why can't you get shit? Why not?
Maybe-
I mean, you apparently have these magical powers, but you're late.
yeah, that's
maybe-
literally what they did.
Maybe he's just dumb, and they're like, he's not ready for school yet. He bit his teacher. He
No,
bit
I think
his
it's advanced.
teacher. He's not allowed in there. Okay, that's what happened with me in 1st grade. Teacher woke me up. I bit her, and I was not allowed to advance to the next grade. Maybe that's what
Bit
happened
your
at Hogwarts.
teacher?
That was last week.
Yes,
That was
that
last
was that was last week.
Well, Biggles might be right because this is the 1800s. Dumbledore isn't in charge, so
So what? You
It might
still
be-
have to harness your magic at 11. That's just a
it might be a
I mean, the
retard
They
in
said it was
charge.
there was an ancient magic that he's tapped into. That was the thing. So the idea is essentially there was a new magic system that you're apparently uniquely able to tap into, and so they're like, well, you're probably at a 5th grade level. That's fine. It's because they don't want to do level 1. You know, everyone knows the level 1 of RPGs where you go around fighting rats. They were like, no, we'll skip the rats. We want you to fight the big bad dude straight away.
Yeah, but
And
I
also
get why
don't
Blabs
like
is
the-
frustrated because part of
Yes.
the intrigue of Harry Potter, like, there's those first few years and just
Yeah.
like just getting into
Well-
Hogwarts and the magic of it, and it's like there's
We
a
still get
lot
that.
you're skipping ahead. I
Yeah,
mean,
you still get sorted, but it's not the same. You know?
I think that if you there's a way around that. If you want to say, okay, well, you're more advanced as a character, and you're like now playing as a more adept like wizard or whatever, then you should let your character like create your character as a child entering Hogwarts and just do a montage of you growing and learning your spells.
Yeah,
Let
that'd
you
be
like
great.
feel
Loki.
connected to your character.
Like Loki? What the
well,
fuck?
think about Harry
Well-
Potter. Like when you think about Hogwarts and Harry Potter, you got the Sorting Hat. You know, you
Mhm.
figure out which house you're going to be in. You
Yep.
get your own freaking wand. You know, what's it going to be made of, and all that sort of
Yep.
thing. You have to meet all your friends and develop that friendship, and everybody's just getting to know each other. In
That's
the
cool.
beginning. It's like,
Yeah.
all of that just like feels like it's skipped over. And as you're kind of getting into it, and you're kind of getting acquainted with it, your character already is like,
Yeah, like you're literally
No, they still do that. They said
disconnect.
they filter you through to a house and everything like that. So I
Yeah,
think
you
it's,
still
you're still
learn
new to the
as people.
school. You've just
Mhm.
skipped a few years, so you still get the new experience. You're just essentially better with magic than you should be. Is the,
Yeah, but
the
it's
way
just
they
so
kind
weird
of
'cause, like,
described
you're
it.
simulating into your 5th year when you should be taking your OWLs, and you're just like, here you go, learn magic, woohoo, friends.
I'm
So-
actually excited for the game.
Was that a British
So
accent
this-
there?
No, sorry, it happens. It's really bad.
Better
I'm
than
sorry.
my British accent.
I watched a lot of British stuff when I was younger, so it kind of just comes in. Like I'll be working on a farm, and then everyone suddenly be British and be like, "What's wrong with you? Here's a chicken," and I'm like, "Yeah,
My
So-
British accent is French, so you're doing very well, Blabs.
great."
So does the game let
Oh,
you do drugs in
wanker.
the bathroom with Moaning Myrtle?
Well, see, that was my other theory. I'm like, maybe they want you to start older because it's going to be like
You're gonna start
GTA. And maybe
dating.
there's like a wizard hooker somewhere that you can.
Hey,
that's
I'm not
Well,
opposed
hopefully.
You can't do
to
a drive by. You gotta be an adult to pick
It's
your-
like
Yeah,
there's
you
a
have to
little
be old
GTA.
enough to drive a car to do a drive-by.
Avada
wizard shooting.
Kedavra, drive by, bam.
Just drive by on a broom.
Yep.
But you get to fly if you watch all like the extra footage. You do get to learn how to fly, which actually looks
Yeah.
really sick.
I just think that I agree with the attitude that if depending on how they play it out, the fact is, like, it will be cool to see a montage or be introduced. Like, that's a built-in tutorial right there for you to show how the game works and everything as a young kid. And then you skip forward to your 5th year and then jump into it or explain, something like that. The fact is, like, it definitely feels like they're just trying to deal with the fact
a really good reason to explain why you skipped those years. It needs to be solid.
It reminds me just of like the whole Batman issue. And every time there's a new Batman that comes out, it's like, well, we could show his parents dying again, but it feels like we've done it so much. But it's like, yeah, but if you don't do it, is it really Batman's story? It's like you just feel like you're skipping something that's so crucial.
See, I'm not for that. I hate origin stories. I've seen them so many times.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen Spider-Man and his origin story? It's like, no.
But see, what I would argue is that the issue is that we get too many reboots. I don't think there's anything issue with the origin story, just too many reboots.
Well, you want to hear something?
That's a good point.
Well, you want to hear something interesting about specifically Batman that I was like realizing the other day? The Batman '89 is like the first real Batman movie we've ever gotten. And if you ignore the Adam West Batman, but you don't even see his parents die until well into the 3rd act of the movie. So you don't even see that all play out. So really the first time we ever see Bruce and going through what he's gone through in a film is in Batman Begins. And then the next time you see it is in the montage that they show in Batman versus Superman. So but I will say with Disparu, like, we have seen Spider-Man, we've seen the Uncle Ben story play out a significant portion of times. And like Disney was the only one that skipped it, but then we still ended up getting a Uncle Ben moment with the newest Spider-Man anyways. So it's like, okay, how many times you got to show that story? Because now they're saying like, well, this is like kind of the origin story for this Spider-Man and stuff. So I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting.
Well, I also had another thing about the new Harry Potter game. I have to talk, or else there's nothing else for me to say, right?
Right.
So,
She's here.
So, like, did you guys notice that there's that chick, the companion? She's fighting justice.
What
the fuck?
I didn't see that.
Is she
I
hot?
probably blocked her out.
She's a black chick, and she's fighting justice for her justice. What? Why? There's that little bit of wokeness just in there, and I was like,
I missed that.
Yeah, it's in I can't remember if it's in the footage. Yeah, it's in the extra bonus footage. It's not in the trailer. So it tells you about these different companions. There's like 2 or 3 of them, whatever.
Yeah.
And one of them is a black chick, and she's fighting for her justice.
Wow.
I
It's the
really missed that.
1800s.
But is she
She wasn't
hot?
supposed to be there in Scotland.
It's so annoying. Like, every prominent black character needs to be
Fighting for
fighting
justice.
for
Why can't it just be
justice or from
something
some
I'm
sort of
disappointed
rights
Mike
or
isn't.
something. Why can't a black character just take on freaking Voldemort or something? Like,
Because
why does
that's
it
the
have
thing.
to be
It's not
this?
because black characters are black, like people in general are like considered the epitome of like diversity right now in Hollywood, and they
Right.
become the new hot commodity. Which is, I've been making an argument for a while now that we're like, if people aren't careful, we're dangerously close to like the next level, like the next wave of black exploitation. Because the idea is every black character has to deal with racism in their life. That's not how that really works. But like, and the thing is, you already know going into Harry Potter that there's a ton of backlash against J.K. Rowling, and they're
Right.
doing everything they can to distance themselves from the creator with their work, but that's impossible to do because you wouldn't have Harry Potter without J.K. Rowling.
Right.
And it's
And every copy's paying her.
yeah,
She gets
exactly. It's like
everything.
when George Lucas created Star Wars, he did the movies, but he let people have creative license with his world around him. J.K. Rowling has been involved with the creation.
She's not letting
of
anyone
the
touch it.
project. She's integral in everything that they do. And they can say all day long, well, she wasn't involved with the games, and we kind of, did our own thing. But I'm like, no, you didn't, because you had to have her approval.
Yes or no.
She
Right.
gatekeeps her shit just as hard as Tolkien does. She's just more liberal about what she allows into the world. So there's a difference with that. And the fact is, I know that there is definitely an attempt to make Harry Potter still appeal to as massive audience as they can. And so they want people to feel like, cool, well, this is Harry Potter for you, not J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter,
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more of that push in the games, specifically. So,
Well, that's the same thing that's going on with the Halo series. Is they said they didn't play the games, obviously, but they're saying that the Master Chief can be a 6-year-old girl from Nigeria. The Master Chief can be this. The Master Chief can be that. But that's a fundamental misunderstanding of Master Chief as a character.
Well, it's also more tone deaf too, even just
absolutely.
with their audience. Yeah, because like with Harry Potter, I fully recognize there's a lot of millennial leftist women who like love Harry Potter. And so they want to see, you know, their like what they love separated from who created it. With Halo, just not really that. It's like you got a lot of masculine men who like guns, who like this dude in a super suit kicking ass. And so if he gets sidelined, they're going to be like, wait, what? It's going to be a big wake up call for that audience, I think, because I don't think there's a large portion of the gaming community that doesn't have an idea of like the Hollywood agenda and what's going on. And I think their eyes are going to be open to it when it's going to be like, wait, all those people that were complaining about the Halo trailer and saying what they were afraid of, like I was when my video got ratioed, I'm laughing right now. I'm saying, I freaking told you guys this. Like they're literally telling you they didn't play the games. It's insane. That is insane. Yeah. Why are you running the show? There's so many talented people that could be running the show, but they're not.
Well, that's something I talked about in my Lord of the Rings video. Is Lord of the Rings is one of the biggest franchises in the world, and we may need to sacrifice it just for people to wake up to everything that's going on, because it's got the biggest backlash of all these franchises, Halo, Star Wars, all of them that have ever gotten. It's got the biggest backlash so far, and we may need to sacrifice Lord of the Rings and able to get the normies on board to everything that's going on. So Halo, I don't think is capable of doing that, but
no, just this portion of people, but no, not like Lord of the Rings can. No way.
Well, right. That's the thing. It's not like it's a sacrifice, because a sacrifice means that it's a deliberate thing that you're intending to do. It's already happened. No, like Lord of the Rings has been filmed. It's
right.
Whatever's going to happen to it, it's already been happened to it. At this point, it is literally a case of forming up arguments which counter the narrative which prevailed over the last years. Because the reason why it's gone so far and so fast is because when these arguments are brought up in the offices or around CEOs and stuff, no one has an argument against them. And you're going to have to do better than, especially arguing from, because one thing I don't think Americans realize is this isn't an international opinion. When you looked at Lord of the Rings and the international trailers, if you actually looked at the foreign ones, it didn't have any of it in it, because it doesn't translate. It's using American terminology, it's using English language, and it's using American culture, and then trying to export that around the world, and it doesn't translate into other languages which don't have the same words and the same concepts behind those words that actually exist in other languages. And one of the things that, even when it comes down to sort of the whole black-white dynamic, which Americans have, it doesn't exist in any other country. You go and talk about white people in Europe, who do you mean? Do you mean Welsh, Scottish, English, French, Germans, Norwegians? Who are you even talking about? It doesn't even make sense. And this is why there was a Lord of the Rings article from Glasgow, and you could tell that wasn't a British article, because the terminology and the way they describe people isn't how British people talk about the world. And there's this very strange thing to try and export it through culture and TV programming, and everybody else looks at it and thinks, this is weird. What are you even doing?
Right.
Well, I think the word you were looking for, Jed, instead of sacrifice, is martyr. Like Lord of the Rings might have to be the martyr. You know, it goes down and the enemy killed it, but that's going to be what rallies up a bunch of people that were in the fight before. You know, it's because my parents are a good example of it. I'm a part of Geeks and Gamers. I'm very involved in the culture war at this point. But my parents aren't like I am, and they're not tripping when Halo's being destroyed and the show's being destroyed. But you try to mess with Lord of the Rings, they are diehard Lord of the Rings. My Lord of the Rings fans. My dad's read everything Tolkien's ever put out, and he is pissed about this show. And so now he's all in it, and he's posting angry comments and posting the Tolkien quotes everywhere and all that. And so, yeah, it's just people that weren't activated in this fight before, they are now, because you're going after something they love. And this is an audience that's never been for that. This is a very intelligent audience that knows Tolkien well and why he wrote a lot of this stuff and the work inside it out. And when they say, oh, this is what it actually is, when they tell us lies and they try to twist things and say, oh, this Catholic man who wrote all this stuff, he was actually for this. And we're like, bullshit. No, he wasn't. We know you're lying to us because they know the source material. Well, it's just so shallow to you know, feel like you have to change what Tolkien's work. I mean, just imagine if you looked at the rest of the world that way. Like I went to Haiti. I wasn't traveling to Haiti thinking, why don't they have more white people here? Because it's a nation of black people, you dumbass.
Right.
That's completely fine. That's acceptable. But the way we're looking at entertainment now is it needs a lot of this, it needs a lot of that. And when it doesn't even make sense to the history or to the story, and it's like, and you shouldn't even need that. That says a lot about you as a person. If you are that shallow that you can only relate to people who have the same skin color as you. I freaking watched Godzilla versus Kong and enjoyed it because I could relate to a giant lizard. Okay, I was like, I like the fact that he's an alpha mentality and he wants to fight Kong and he wants to be on top of Kong. And Kong's like, I just want to go home. You know, like, can you just leave me alone? And it's like, there's people that resonate with that. I resonate with the lizard, you know, and I'm like, it's a lizard. That's all it takes. You know, the NBA, I've loved the NBA the whole life. I've been fans of the Lakers at times where there was only black people. I didn't care. I don't care because they're still men. They still have to go out there and do their jobs. I still dreamt, man, one day I could be a Laker. I didn't have to see a white boy to think maybe I could make the team one day. Like, it's just shallow people, man. And it just really comes out when they just try to take what belongs to these fan bases, what belongs to these creators, and they try to change it to resemble their shallow image. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And I definitely
They don't just try to change it; they try to shame you with it. And that's the worst part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is intentional. It's designed to put you on the back foot. So the issue there is you're arguing within their whole paradigm. They've kind of crowbarred open something that they can use to attack you with, and now you're on the defensive. You're like, well, I'm not a racist. This is a bad thing. This is a horrible thing to talk about. When actually you'd be like, no, you're the ones destroying someone's legacy. It's about respect and human decency. There's a different way. I completely disagree with even arguing, like even considering their point of view. The moment you accept their language, you've already lost. That's why it's been created, to put you on the back foot. There's a reason why I don't talk about race. I talk about the chemical levels of someone's skin. Because you're reducing it to what they're essentially talking about. Like, I don't care about what chemical level you have. I don't care about your vitamin D levels. I don't care whether you've had enough vitamin C and you're going to catch scurvy in the next week. It doesn't make a difference to you as a person. And that's the kind of thing. It is a case of they're trying to treat something which is completely and utterly relevant as the most important thing about a person. And I think there's a far stronger element of arguing about culture and heritage for the same reason that you wouldn't destroy the Sistine Chapel. Like, everyone knows, you taking someone's work and destroying it is morally wrong. And that's, I think, as far as you need to go, rather than arguing about the defensive. It's like, no, I don't need to go, well, there's loads of other different churches which have different artwork on them. That would be a weird argument to take.
Yeah, stop agreeing with their premise. I agree with that, and I wish more people would do that. More people on our side defend a point that they don't need to defend. It's like when they're calling you racist, you call them racist right back and expose what they're doing. When they say, don't say gay bill, call it the anti-grooming bill. You know what the hell it is. Why don't you call it that? Stop agreeing to their language. But we're doing that all the time. It's like the far left's news circles start with them being pissed about something. And this is proven. Like, it always starts with them being pissed about something. And then the other side is just responding to what they're pissed about. And it's like, dude, you got to get ahead of that. It's like, because that's not a winning mentality, is always just responding to their attacks and giving them a foothold with the language, like you said.
It says more about them. It says more about them than it does about us, right? Because, like, for example, I bring this up in D&D culture. There was this whole big thing about how orcs are racist because the original creators meant them to represent black people, and that white people make orcs be evil in the game because that's how we feel about black people. And I'm sitting here like, I have played D&D since middle school, and I have played it dozens of tables, hundreds of hours, and I have never been sitting with anybody else at that table and be like, you know what I think of when I think of orcs? Black people. Nobody has ever said that.
Right? No one.
But instead of like giving them the stink eye and just looking at them and being like, what the hell are you talking about? You're right. We argue with them instead, and that gives them the footing they need when we really should just be mocking them.
Absolutely.
Well, and this is the thing, and this is part of the solvent for things like this that a lot of people aren't doing, because it's the culture we live in today, to respond and to defend and to even go on the offensive for things like that. But we actually got a good example of it recently. I'm going to use Dave Chappelle as an example of this. So he talked about the fact that he signed a bad contract with Comedy Central back when he was really young, and he didn't get paid for the Chappelle Show for his 3rd season because they offered him a ton of money. He didn't take it, blah, 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 blah. He had a special where he told his audience, listen, in order to get the rights back to this stuff, in order for me to get my show back and get my name back and all of this stuff, I need you to stop watching my show. I need you to make that commodity worthless. Because if it's worthless, they'll leave it alone. Right. It has no value to them. They'll walk away from it. And that's the thing. Amazon knows there's going to be backlash to this show. But they know that for every video that is showing that it's bad, there's going to be videos saying that it's good. And those videos saying that it's good are going to draw people to go watch it. And videos that are bad are also going to draw people to go watch it to see how bad it is. They know that they're going to get eyes on them, and they're going to dismiss the audience that is saying bad things about it and call us racist and sexist and all the isms and is that they can. And then they're going to take the people that are watching it and go, see, it's pretty good, isn't it? Because they've already been groomed with stories recently that bad stories aren't really bad stories. It's just that the audience is toxic or the fan base is toxic. So you have to dismiss and ignore those people. And part of it,
have a hard time with this one though, because they're literally in the minority at this point. Like you look at all the videos and ratios and stuff. They're in the minority.
Absolutely, but they will ignore it because they have the money to ignore it.
Right.
They've spent an absurd amount of money on this show. And what we don't see a lot of times behind the scenes, whenever they pay a news publication like Vanity Fair to talk about this stuff, there's millions more dollars that we don't see behind the scenes that are exchanging hands for these publications to also go on Twitter and push things on Twitter, push algorithms on Twitter, and push algorithms on YouTube, and push social media to socially engineer people to look at things a certain way. I think for a lot of us, the best thing we could do is ignore the show.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Put your money where you want it to, essentially. Because if they're not making money, they wouldn't be making the show.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I do have to interrupt now. This is a great conversation, and this is 100% facts from everyone. But we actually have 2 people that need to jump off the stream. We have Xray Girl and Erudi who need to jump. Is there anything the 2 of you want to plug before we bounce y'all?
If you look down in the description, my Twitch channel's there. Follow me. Dying Light 2 tomorrow with Az and Garrett if his baby doesn't pop out. So
those streams are great, so I can personally recommend those. So it was great to have you, Xray Girl.
Thank
I'm so
you
glad you were
for
able
having
to
me.
Bye, Xray Girl.
Bye, Xray Girl.
Bye, Xray.
Girl.
Xray Girl. All right.
And we also have Erudi who has to bounce. Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I am one of the newer members of Geeks and Gamers, and I am starting the Geeks and Gamers tabletop channel. So check that out on YouTube. Check out our Twitter. It's literally G&G Tabletop. And we also have a Guilded server, which is free to join. It's kind of the alternative to Discord. And we hang out there and we talk tabletop and role-playing and Magic Gathering, Warhammer, all of that stuff. And we have a live show starring several of the people right here on the stream, including Xray Girl, who just left. That'll be premiering on April 7th. So keep your eyes out for that as well.
Perfect. Well, it was great to have you, man. So excited to see what Geeks and Gamers Tabletop has in the future.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad you were able to join us, Erudi.
Yeah, next time I'll try
Later,
to
man.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Later. Take it easy, man. All right, we're down to the final 6.
I want to piggyback off of what you guys were saying though, because like I think there's gonna be a lot of people ignoring it. I know my parents aren't really gonna go to it at all. I'm not gonna even watch it. I refuse. I mean, this is a disgrace. It's so disrespectful to Tolkien. It's disrespectful to the lore. It's not even considerate of the fans. We're being lied to. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to refuse to watch it. And the funny thing is, to me, like, am I annoyed? Absolutely. But like, do I really feel like I'm losing in the situation? Not really. I didn't even really like the Hobbit movies that much. I already loved the Lord of the Rings movies. Like, I already have a complete trilogy of perfection, is the way I look at it. And it's like, who's really losing? They are. That's the joke. It's like, you could just make a good show and everyone would want to watch it, and you make a frick ton of money. I want to give you my money. A lot of people just want to give you the money, but because you make crap, you have to give us propaganda to try to coerce us into watching it. And it's like, and a lot of people won't. It's like they're really the ones losing. So even though I recognize they're still probably going to make money off of it, I don't know if they'll actually lose money off of the show. They probably will make money, but compared to the amount of money that they easily could make if they just put forth a good product with a huge fan base, it's not even close. So in my mind, they're the only ones really losing in this.
No,
Disparu, you had something to say too?
Yeah, there's background noise again, though.
Yeah, I think that might
it's
be
Blabs.
you again, Blabs.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hang on.
It's like you've got a compressor or something, which is boost when you don't speak for a while. It kind of boosts the face noise or something.
I have no idea. I know my computer's fans are running right now. It might be that.
See, this is proof that women should talk less.
Wow.
Compressors work the other way around. But yeah, the thing is, like, when you're on about ignoring it, is it better to not give them money? Yes. But at the same time, I don't think anyone watched Wheel of Time because of my reviews. Like, anyone that watched my review, no one wanted to go and see it. It's like no one paid them more money. And I think ruining reputations actually does more beneficial than harm. It's like if Wheel of Time comes up and the moment it's mentioned, people are like, that's awful. They really destroyed those books. I think that's more valuable, or laughing about a thing. If it, like, they don't care. Amazon don't care if they lose money on Lord of the Rings because they've got so much more anyway. You're not going to bankrupt Amazon. But if you actually get to a point where the moment Lord of the Rings is mentioned, everybody bursts out laughing and thinks it's a ridiculous kind of thing, and you've destroyed the IP. Rings of Power is just a common joke and a meme among everywhere. Reputation, that's something that affects people. Even Jeff Bezos, he's gonna be affected by reputation damage and stuff. And I think when
we
it comes
all
down to it,
actually Disparu. It depends what you mean by ignore. Your videos are doing good. Everybody who's calling out is a good thing. I think Mike probably just meant it in the sense that don't watch it. I mean, Mike can correct me.
I just mostly meant not watching the show. Yeah. I don't mean not talking about having conversations about it. I just more mean like people that are going to watch the show because of the outrage. Like the conversation should be like, don't watch this show. Tell your you should be watching Disparu's videos. We should be watching the people that are calling these things out and having conversations about why Tolkien's vision is being damaged by Amazon. But I just more mean like, if the goal should also be to try to get as many eyes off of that show as possible so that there can't be a conversation. Amazon will never show that they lost, but them even having a conversation behind the scenes saying, hey, we didn't get nearly as many eyes on this as we thought we did. Maybe we need to reevaluate how we're going to approach this, because when we have seen times before where something came out and they talked it up, like the thing is with box office numbers, you can't hide it. You can lie about it and you can manipulate box office numbers, but like the reality is like they made a big deal about Eternals being like awesome, blah 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 blah, and everybody called them out for it, and then the movie didn't do well, and there wasn't really an argument to be made against the movie not doing well. They could say whatever they want, but the movie just wasn't good and people didn't watch it. So the argument of ignore it is not, to clarify, is not to ignore the conversations about it, but more like ignore the show. Don't watch it. Don't give them even eyes on it to argue, well, look at all the records we broke because people watched it. Because I think that that's something that happens too, is then people will watch it for the outrage, or will watch it out of curiosity. And if they don't know any better, or if they can be convinced that the people talking bad about it don't have any credibility, like Disparu says, if they can try to ruin your reputation first, it's almost like a race to see who's going to get the most eyes or most ears to listen to the fact that guess what, this is not good, and let's look at all the people that don't think it's good. But
perception is everything. Like in the Wheel of Time, the first 3 episodes apparently did really well for Amazon. They didn't mention any of the other episodes. They kept referring to the launch just because that was big, and the rest of them clearly weren't. Otherwise, they would have mentioned them as well. But perception and stuff gives, like, I don't just want people not to see something and then it be ignored, and then a load of people that don't know what's going on watches it and they use them anyway. I think, because the way you have to win this, it's like conversations within the companies. You have to reach a point where when they're hiring people, because it's hiring that matters, it's the HR departments that really kind of fill out a company. when someone mentions, oh, should we have this guy because he doesn't know anything about Halo? They're like, no, what are you on about? Did you not see Lord of the Rings and the backlash that they got? That would be insane to hire someone that doesn't care about the IP. You need the perception to be so widespread and strong that people wouldn't even consider going against the law.
Yeah, because if we ignored it completely, and the diehard Lord of the Rings fans aren't calling this crap out, there's enough normies to sustain a show. Like there is. And they're just allowed then to just control the narrative. Because I know people. I have people in my life, I guaranteed, like you guys have people in your life that they're just consumers. You know, they might not like something. Like they might be the kind of person to be like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't really like The Last Jedi, or oh, I thought it was all right, but they can't pinpoint why it wasn't great. You know, they really can't like put their finger on it, and we can. And as soon as we point it out to them, they're like, oh yeah, like that is kind of weird. That is why it wasn't like the originals, isn't it? You know, and go ahead.
That's why the comments underneath the videos were so strong, because it was like they took away the dislikes. But I actually think that comments, it takes more effort and it's more obvious. You scroll to see what people think of that video, you know what people think of that video. And the fact it's in a foreign language that you have to translate, and then you're like, oh, that's what they're saying. Because I guarantee you, everyone that sees that message is like, what's this say? Everyone keeps repeating it under the video. It carries such weight, and it was something that, because you can see them spinning their wheels in all the different articles, trying to come up with arguments against it, and they just can't, because it's a very neutral but very obvious statement which carries no weight. It's not involved in their language or their kind of framing, and that's why they're trying so many different arguments that all attack a different point, but none of them can actually dent the fact that like 89,000 or something last time I checked it watched that video and all thought it was horrible. And you kind of need that for a lot of things, or you need a major example that everyone else points to and go, we can't do that, because Amazon can lose the money but a lot of other companies can't.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot, I don't know, I feel like even as a personal like Tolkien fan, like there's more responsibility on me and other fans, like if we're truly fans of this, to protect this man's legacy, because he's dead. They're trying to literally reframe what he was all about, you know. And I was having this conversation with one of my sports subscribers, one of my subs on my basketball channel. And he was like, yeah, why does that Lord of the Rings thing make you so mad? I said, imagine Michael Jordan dies however many years from now. And years after Michael Jordan dies, everybody starts trying to paint this narrative that he was an easygoing guy and he wasn't really competitive and he wasn't this person who wanted to win at all costs. Imagine if they just said, oh, he was a team player, he was an encourager. It'd be like that, you'd reject that, right? And he was like, oh yeah, no, that's not who he is. Exactly. That's what they're doing. They're literally changing someone's legacy for their own selfish motives. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is, imagine if they called Michael Jordan LeBron James.
Yeah, without trying to turn this into a total sports debate. Yes, I think that's accurate.
I have no idea what it is. But
I have no more idea.
You have a duty to protect what came before you because you inherited it, and you have a duty to preserve that for your children so they can inherit it as well. If you just want to destroy everything that came before you, what you'll end up with is something that's only as good as like your generation. But the idea behind tradition and inheritance is that that's a cumulatively effect of everyone that came before you all added their own little bit, and it was greater than each individual was throughout that entire generation. And you can't repeat that on your own because you're not smarter than cumulatively every single person that's ever lived in the entire world. Nope. And this is the attitude that you get out of Hollywood. I mean, like, well, Halo's just a game. I didn't want to be limited by a game. It's like they think they're superior than what was created by so many other people. And it's like, you're not. And essentially, they're going to have to learn they're not, because they're not going to do it on their own. So someone's going to have to teach them that if you do this, it's going to fail. And the money men, those are the people going to have to learn it. But also, like I say, a lot of this comes down to arguments. If you come out and you go, well, what's wrong with diversity in an office, and no one in that room has any arguments against it, they win. By default. So this is going to be a lot about providing people the tools to talk back against the arguments and to show the arguments for the flawed fallacies they really are.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, yeah.
No,
keep making them videos, Disparu.
And don't change the thumbnail, because that's my favorite thing.
I mean, Disparu's probably noticed And every freaking video I watch of Lord of the Rings, and I'm trying to watch and like them all, I'm always commenting for the algorithm, for the algorithm, for the algorithm, like, because I'm so passionate about this. I'm like, get this video out there. It's like, I don't do that with most videos, but Lord of the Rings, for the algorithm, get it out there.
I don't think a lot of YouTube viewers understand like the contribution that likes and especially comments really have. Like if you either see a thumbnail and don't click it, or you don't interact with it in some way, that essentially damages the reach of the video. Whereas if you like something and you comment, that goes out to more people, and more people will see it, and then they can come in and comment, and that's how going viral works. And it is a case when people like, I'm thankful for the viewers that comment and like and everything. It really does mean something, as it genuinely affects the reach of that kind of content.
Well, that's why I respond to all my super negative comments. Like, I've already had death threats in my comments. Whenever I get super negative comments,
sorry, those were me.
Yeah, I always respond with "thanks for the view and the interaction." It really helps. Like, if I don't have anything else to say, I always respond with that, just because it does make a difference, even if they don't realize it. Like, commenting helps more than just shutting up. So
yeah, absolutely.
I like reading all the comments on the videos I edit for Erudi or Legal, and be like, "Hey, look, they like the video." And I just get excited because it makes me feel good that they actually like something I did. Because they don't like anything on my page. They're like, this sucks. I'm like, thanks, guys. Apparently, as long as it's under someone else, they like it.
Well, we actually have a
Froska defense. It's like, you have a problem with me, but when that guy says it, you're fine.
Yeah, like when I make that guy say it, you're good, right? I edit it the way to where it's like, oh wait, he didn't actually say that.
Well, that's basically the WandaVision or the Doctor Strange 2 trailer. It's like, when I break the rules of reality, I'm painted as a villain, but when you do it, you're the hero. It's basically the same argument.
Wait, I'm always the hero, okay? And the villain at the same time, because I'm awesome.
Well, we actually have a question from the chat saying, if we don't watch the show but continue to have an Amazon Prime subscription, does that mean we bought the movie ticket without watching the movie? Does anyone who's been talking about the Rings of Power show have an opinion on that, whether or not having a subscription makes a difference?
I have an Amazon Prime subscription because I get a Twitch sub out of it, and I use Amazon a lot to actually buy stuff. I don't really have a choice not to, because doing so would cost me a fortune, which would just give Amazon more money because I'd be paying them more in shipping costs. So there isn't like
there's no win-win.
Yeah, it's like, you can do the best you can to kind of uphold stuff, but at the end of the day, people create a world where you don't have much choice, and you are going to be backed into a corner.
And that's why this is a weird fight, because Amazon is not a multimedia company. They are like, they're a goods company and a services company that is like integral to how the world functions and operates. And they got into the multimedia space as well, whereas like Disney, I mean, they have other interests, but if you stop watching their movies and their shows, they're going to take a huge hit to what they're doing. Like Amazon, if we stopped watching all their movies, they'd still be raking in billions of dollars a year in revenue. So here's the thing, and this is where it's a difficult conversation, because like Disparu said, it costs them, tons of money more. It really would affect how our economy operates. If everybody that didn't like what is happening with Lord of the Rings got rid of their Amazon Prime subscription, you probably would see a quicker response from Amazon, because it does impact their checkbooks. But the fact is, I use Amazon too, and it is useful for Twitch, and it is useful for the products and goods that I get from Amazon. And it's hard to say, why would I stop doing that? Because I don't have the financial means to stop. Like, I don't have the financial means to go buy from other places. It's like the argument of buy American. And it's like, well, yeah, you can buy some things American, but a lot of things that are American are also way more expensive. And so sometimes I have to buy something that I know was made by like a little kid in a sweatshop in a third world country, because like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't afford the other options. So it's that starts to get into a really complicated conversation about like ethics and supporting this or supporting that, and how deep those roots go, because Amazon's kind of become a big part of our lives. So,
well, fuck Amazon. No, I'm done. Like Lord of the Rings, and I'm not going to give any judgment, because it does get into the whole ethics thing, personal convictions, all that. People do it how they want to do it.
Yeah.
Personally, this is important enough of me that I canceled my subscription. I told those motherfuckers why I canceled my subscription, because you ruined Lord of the Rings. And I mean, it's my favorite form of fiction.
Yeah, I did that with Disney
Period.
Plus.
Yeah, and so it's my favorite. So I was like, this is done. And I just personally, I don't feel like it's as hard. Like Amazon's convenient because it gets you your stuff fast, but I just use eBay now. I just buy from individual sellers, and I just have to wait a little bit longer, but I could still like make it work. Like I don't even have a car, so I have to have stuff
And you're helping the little
delivered to
people
me
out
all
on
the time.
eBay.
Yeah, exactly. So I can make it work, but it is like there are some inconveniences you have to deal with. But yeah, I try not to get into the whole like judging other people's things for how they approach it. But for me, yeah, absolutely, I'm done. I'm not using Amazon anymore.
The way I see it though is even if because I think it's far more complicated than just the monetary argument because there's so many different aspects of it. But let's just say that tomorrow, so many people cancelled their Amazon subscriptions that Amazon completely changed their perspective on it. All those people are still there in the company. They all believe the same stuff, and they're all going to do it again. This has to be a point where it's on more fronts to entirely change essentially corporate culture. You need people in that room that will argue against this stuff and win because they're on stronger grounds. And I do think that money sends a message, but it's far from the only one. And this is something that's going to take a very long time.
For sure. But I don't have to look at what I hate on screen now and think to myself, I'm funding it because I'm not. Yeah. I'm not part of this, you know?
Well, and this is... Yeah. And well, this gets into that, you know, the conversation, and we've all heard Ripper talk about it, but it gets into the conversation of like parallel economy or like creating your own stuff, creating your own lore, creating your own books, creating the things that you want to see in the world. Because if your stuff, if we support each other and like Disparu starts making enough money and doing well in YouTube enough that he can write the book that he's always wanted to write, you know, about why coffee is better than tea in Britain, and everybody buys it because he's influential. Guess what? Like then he has an argument and a stake in saying, like a company that like Disney is going to look at him, or a company like Folgers, because specifically we're talking about coffee, or a company like Folgers or whoever makes tea or whatever looks and goes, well, frick, this guy's like got a ton of people buying his coffee, and we're actually losing sales to a guy like this because now he's competing with us. That speaks volumes to the fact that now he's influencing more people. And that's the argument too, is that's why all of it's important, because as a creator, if you can push into a space that has been occupied by the people that don't give a shit about you and are pushing these ideas and pushing these concepts, then you become a mover and a shaker that they can't ignore anymore. And you're funded by and pushed by and elevated by a group of people that they dismissed as toxic. You know, so that's the other part of it too, is being able to encourage people around you that you know are creatives that are doing something to help you and help the culture that you're trying to see in the world. So
yeah, because even now I watch every Disparu Lord of the Rings video. Every one you put out, you got my view, you got my like, you got my comment, because I hate this show so much, you know, and it's like, and if I didn't, if they just put out a good show, I probably wouldn't be watching a bunch of Lord of the Rings videos on it, because I'd be satisfied with the entertainment I'm getting in the show. But I've literally supplemented it now with independent creators trashing it, you know? And it's like, and to a certain extent, that's already happening. To a certain extent, there are already those W's, because we know that a lot of Hollywood people and a lot of, you know, people within big companies like news outlets and stuff, they hate YouTubers because they are already eating into a lot of that audience. The independent creators in some ways are already taking that step, and we just got to keep moving forward with it.
Well, that's why ethics is the perfect term for it, because as I only pay for Netflix of all the subscription services out there. That's the only one I pay for. But I've actually in talks with a major production company to make my book series into a television show. And in that moment, I fully understand the ethics of it is, hey, do I choose my morality over what they're going to do to it? Because they full up said, like, hey, can we give this credit of this show that we're going to make on your book series to a person of color? Like, it's straight up my morality versus the creativity of it. So like I have a lot of sympathy for a lot of writers now in Hollywood that I never understood before, but ethics is a strong word for it because it is so subjective in how we perceive all these franchises. But at a certain point, we do have to draw a line and say our souls are worth more than these franchises. And that's something that a lot of normies don't understand, is that Lord of the Rings means more than our individual desires. per se.
Because the argument, it's just a book series or it's all fiction. I'm like, then why are you fighting so hard to defend it?
Right.
You know,
Right.
like they're working just as hard to defend it in the media sphere as we are against it, you know, to an extent. And so it's like, okay, well, if it's just fiction, then why are you trying so hard?
Exactly.
Like, why are you trying so hard to change it? You know,
because even if it's like it's potentially propaganda, but not just propaganda, it's entertainment and it's influence. You know, even when it's not bad, it's still influential. It can inspire you. I mean, I remember when I was going through one of the hardest, stressful times of my life, and I didn't want to keep going. And watching The Walking Dead and seeing Rick Grimes being a leader and keep pushing through it, and I was like, that was huge for me at that time of my life when that show was really big. Is I was like, I just was inspired by. I don't care if the whole world's dead. You fight for a better future, you know, and like. It's inspiring to people. It has influence, and that's the thing. They'll try to frame it as something else, but they don't care about truth. All they care about is winning, and so that's why they'll do that.
Yep, absolutely, 100%, man. Yep, nailed it.
And it's about where these things kind of come from. It is essentially there's cause to perception and things that lead society's perception into things. Like you've got the media, that's one of them. Journalists. Then you've got academia. Why? Because they teach people and bring them up into, then send them out into the companies or other journalists and stuff and sort of propagate it throughout various different companies. And then you've got HR departments who decide who gets hired and who doesn't. And you can guarantee they're going through all your social media and they're checking whether you actually have the right opinions before they hire you. And I think it's not just about taking aim at, well, now they've changed Halo, so let's talk about Halo. There's a greater... idea that needs to be done about sort of academia in general, the experts who are just whoever happens to agree with us that we've given the title to, journalism, HR departments, anything which is sort of the centralized part of the machine which propagates it needs to be talked about. And that's why in my videos, if like you could watch each of my Lord of the Rings videos and it's not the same information repeated over and over again. Each one actually has a topic or a target and it builds on each other. And I think that we can do a better job than we're doing right now with just talking about topics and actually use those topics to talk about wider ideas that then teach people and provide people with the tools that they need to counter this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I like what you said earlier about just looking at like basically the chain of command and like where it comes from and like basically, you know, it's their hiring process and it's their hiring practices. It's like it's easy to just take aim at Ryan Johnson for doing X, Y, and Z, but like, why did that happen? Who's putting that person in position? Like I remember you know, when I was a manager, I could have easily, you know, the president of the company was always talking to me like everything was my responsibility because it was. Like everything that happened on site was my responsibility. Like, yeah, Fred over here is the one who started the fire, but it happened under your watch. Are they being properly trained, Johnny? You know, and it is your responsibility. And so I think that's another thing too, is just like, yeah, I think it needs to be something we look to as inspiration to become independent creators, to infiltrate the same way they infiltrated. You know, it's not just disconnect, like Gary always said, where we're just cutting and running all the time. It's like, yeah, I don't want to fund it, but I'm not going to just stop there. You know, there needs to be an active discussion in it. We need to be bringing it to people's attention, why it's so screwed up and why this is happening and how literally they're shoving propaganda into your children's heads. Like they have a mission that's beyond Tolkien. It's not what Peter Jackson said, where they don't want to put their message into it, just Tolkien's message. No, they reject that. They want to put their message into Tolkien's work.
Well, that's why I love Young Ripa's stance of if we all just do 51% independent, if we just do at least more than half of the mainstream as independent stuff, we make a significant difference. So like we can't abandon Lord of the Rings, we can't abandon Star Wars as people are saying, but if we do at least half independent, we make a significant difference that really changes the whole industry as a whole. So we can still love Star Wars. As Isaac, who was supposed to join the stream but never showed up, as he says, he loves Book of Boba Fett, which is objectively wrong, but he loves Book of Boba Fett, but he understands that 50% of Star Wars is shit, so he only supports 50% of it. That makes enough of a difference as a whole, that as a fellowship, as Gary puts it, we can make a significant a difference in all these franchises as a whole. And that is why we're here, because 51% is more than enough to make a change that we want to see.
All right, I have a question for you guys. The new Jurassic World movie and the new Fantastic Beasts movie, you guys think it's going to be woke or good?
I think it's just going to be shit.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm
think-
probably not going to watch either of them.
I think Jurassic World jumped the shark a long time ago because the original plans for it did not go the way that they wanted it to. And
What
to
was
be honest,
the original plans?
So the original plan was for the world to discover, like in the facilities, that they were mixing human DNA into dinosaur DNA. And they were trying to create a human dinosaur hybrid. That's why in the script in the movie Jurassic World, they talk so much about what did you put inside that thing and what did you put inside the Indominus Rex. It was originally supposed to be revealed that they put human DNA in it, and that's why it was a bad idea. And instead they changed it to raptor DNA, like that was a big deal. I'm like, okay, because the concept was supposed to be, this is not just Jurassic World anymore. This is about science gone wrong at the highest degree. And because eventually you get into, it's not just enough to bring dinosaurs back. It's also not enough just to make the dinosaurs more scary. It's like, how far with the ethics can we go with this? And then they're like, I think that would be a little bit too much for audiences. So let's just fucking make it.
I had no idea about
that. That sounds so much better.
That is so much better.
Go look up the concept art for Jurassic World originally. There's some freaky shit in there. Like they were really getting into some weird sci-fi stuff, but it would have changed the direction of the franchise.
At least if that failed, though, we could say, hey, at least they went.
They tried. They went.
Exactly.
Well,
I do have to say, I was 15 when the first Jurassic Park came out, so I loved it. But now as an adult, I would go back and watch that original Jurassic World movie, and it's shit. So
it's not as great. It was nostalgia, baby. It was member berries. I liked Chris Pratt. I thought there were some interesting concepts to it, but but it doesn't.
You said the first Jurassic World. Is that what you said?
That's what he meant. Yes, Jurassic World.
That's what I meant.
That's right.
Yes. The first Jurassic Park.
He's like, how old are you?
You said I registered Jurassic Park, and I was like, oh my.
Okay. Yeah. I was 15 when Jurassic World came out. Jurassic World came out.
As far as Fantastic Beasts, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the first movie, is actually my favorite Harry Potter film. I think.
We don't
do that. I was getting good.
No. I know a lot of people shit on Newt and stuff, but you got like, people don't like the thing is, I was watching the movie and I was like, what is the big deal with this? Like, I don't understand why people like this so much. I was trying to figure it out because I had never watched any of the previous Harry Potter films. That was my first ever Harry Potter film. And I was like, whatever year it came out. I watched it like 2 years after it came out.
Or anything.
Yeah, so I watched it like 2018 or whatever.
I was 18.
The scene where Newt like connects with like the rhino creature, I don't remember its name now, like in the snow and is like talking to it, interacting with it. I was like, oh, he's autistic and he's connecting with this creature. And it wasn't meant to be a mean thing. They put a character in here who was dealing with the fact that the world around him doesn't look like that, because up till now, all we see is ourselves in like these wizards and stuff, but they didn't need to champion it. They didn't constantly talk about, well, Newt's different, but he's special, blah, blah, blah. Newt's this. And they just showed that this character was unique and different. And then for him to become friends with a muggle, become best friends with a guy who by all means he should like reject or think he's better than, because he's just a regular guy. He's just a fucking muggle. Because that's kind of how we've all viewed muggles. They're not as cool as the wizards and witches. And for this guy to become his best friend, and for them to go on this like adventure together, and then for the conclusion of the story to be, maybe we shouldn't just like destroy things that we don't understand. Maybe if we took the time to actually like get to understand it, or maybe if we took time to interact with this kid that's like struggling, maybe we could help him. And instead they just fucking kill the guy. Obviously they didn't because of the sequel.
Right.
The sequel is shit and completely shits on all of those previous.
It's not that
ideas.
good, but if you watch it with the extended edition that you can only do like digitally with like the lead scenes back into it, it's 10 times better. It's still not the greatest, but it's a lot better.
I didn't even know there was.
You could tell that they tried to go,
it was like a soap opera towards the end. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, they're
and
like
Dumbledore having a brother. I was like, huh.
They're
Oh,
like
that
they're
was
making
garbage.
this big idea. They're like, well, we got to have a really cool wizard battle, and this wizard battle's coming up, so we got to build up hype for the wizard battle. I'm like, you know what? As somebody that didn't read the books, I did not know that Dumbledore and Voldemort were going to throw down. So when it happened, I was like, oh shit, I didn't see this coming. And it was really fucking good. But if you constantly were throughout the other movies teasing that this big wizard battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort was happening and constantly talking about it and everything, when it happens, it better be the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like you didn't have, and that's what it feels like they're doing with the Fantastic Beasts franchise is how can we hype up this big fight that's supposed to happen? And it's probably not going to be nearly as good as everybody thought it was.
I don't think it's even going to happen in this movie. It's supposed to be 5 films.
It's supposed to be the fifth one. Well, for being the only British guy in the stream, Disparu seems to be the most distracted of all of us in this.
What does that have to do with British?
conversation.
You
Harry
realise
Potter
I
is a
came
British.
There was at least
Harry
40
Potter
seconds
sucks.
There was at least 40 seconds there. I thought you were talking about magic dinosaurs. I left during a Jurassic World conversation and came back, and you're talking about magic battles. And I'm like, what on earth? I haven't seen that second movie. I was like, you're on about in the extended edition, they bring out their wands. I'm like, what?
Dinosaurs.
What's going on here?
That would have been so much of a better movie.
Laps was talking. That's how you should have known. Oh, we're back on Harry Potter stuff. That's how you should
the Jurassic World.
We haven't talked about Star Wars, so like I
Yeah, when the woman talks, you kind of have to expect it went to Harry Potter.
Oh my god.
Wow. They're just so mean.
No, we were just talking
She
about
just said,
Fantastic
she said
Beasts
Star Wars too. That's not typically a woman's thing. So.
And Jurassic World.
I love Star Wars. I was just
It
playing
was just-
Battlefront 2 all the time.
That first movie was weird to me though, because they're like, "Oh my god, he's got raptors as pets. We don't know if the raptors will actually be able to be house trained." And like, we've got loads.
Oh,
of
we're back on
dangerous
Jurassic.
animals
Okay.
That people have. That people have pets. Like we know
like,
you can have a lion that won't eat you if you feed it because they're not like us. They don't just kill for pleasure. They just kill to eat. It's like it's not an unusual thing that a raptor might actually just be a pet if you feed it properly because it wants easy food rather than to go out and hunt. It was such a weird story. But
So
yeah,
I think
Harry
we
Potter.
might be on
I don't know
to a
anything
great
about Harry
fan
Potter.
fiction, guys.
Yeah.
You don't know anything
Just
about Harry
blend
Potter?
the two of them.
No, I'm
Harry
too old for
Potter.
Harry Potter.
So you haven't
the
seen
generation beneath me.
Yeah, you haven't seen classic Doctor Who, and you don't know anything about Harry Potter. Are you sure you're British?
I like coffee as well.
Yeah.
You're really
That's
not.
why
I
an
like
abomination.
Disparu
Hold
a
on.
lot more now.
This is
See?
how you know Disparu is completely British because he's so British that he makes
doesn't
other
give a
British
shit.
people upset. He's like, "Fuck your tea!
Yeah.
I'm drinking coffee," and they're like, "No, you can't do that." And he's like, "Watch me."
Have you never seen the seating plan? There's like it's a picture of it's an airport, and there's one guy sitting on one of the benches, and it's like where every person from every country would sit. And it's like Americans would sit next to him because they quite like the social interaction. They'd start up a conversation. And then you've got the British people who sit as far away as they can on the opposite end of the room just so they don't accidentally make eye contact with the other person because that might be an interaction with a stranger. And we can only talk about the weather. If our weather was the same like it is in Florida, we'd have nothing to talk about and we'd just be really awkward in a lift.
God, am I British? Sounds like how I choose to socialize. Or
Well,
not.
do you call it an
Like,
elevator
like-
a lift?
It had like the Germans would sit behind him, not facing him, because they don't want social interaction, but they still want to efficiently fill out the seats so that everyone is actually in a line next to each other. And it went through like all of Europe. It was awesome.
That's really funny.
To answer that person, I never saw Twilight until about 6 months ago. I went
I've
all
never
through
watched
life
Twilight
without
movie.
it, and I was like, "This is the fucking awful." Why
I didn't watch.
on this.
I didn't watch Harry Potter till like 2020. So
You know, I actually watched Twilight before Harry Potter because it was the one
Fuck
mainstream movie that my mom liked. So it's actually one of the first normal movies I saw as a kid. was
Everyone
the
was
Twilight
going
franchise.
crazy for it.
Mormons.
All my friends like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "I'm gonna go read Harry Potter." Bye, y'all. They're just like
I-
sparkly vampires.
The only thing I know about that movie is a joke that I can't say on YouTube, so. I'm not doing
I
it.
only
funny.
watched the baseball scene of the Twilight movie, and I
He
don't know
ruined the
what-
Muse song for me. I loved that song until I watched that movie, and I was like, "Fuck."
That is a
I
good
don't-
song.
I don't even know which movie it's in, but there's one where they play baseball, and that's
The
the only
first
scene I
one.
watched.
They ruined black
Oh.
holes.
Well, look who's a Twilight expert. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend
I just
you.
watched it. That's why I know.
I don't mean to offend you, Miss
So-
Twilight
Yeah.
expert.
Arkasul, I didn't like Twilight. I was allowed to watch Twilight. There's a very
You
You
love
didn't watch
Twilight.
Shrek. Sparkly Vampires cartoon. I'm just really confused here. Help me understand, please.
I don't know.
I didn't watch
What?
Twilight. Never have. Never will.
You're a
Good for
good
you.
man. Yeah, good for you.
Good. Save
You
yourself.
murder people, but you're still a better person than us.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But I did watch all of Harry Potter, and I actually think that, despite the fact that it's obvious that she made up some of it much later in the series, I actually think Harry Potter is a masterclass in like setup and payoff in a lot of ways.
Terribly?
Is it?
Yes,
it's
read
a
the book. It's
masterclass.
10 times better.
The payoff for some of the story beats that she sets up, and you can tell that she changed and pivots on some of them, like about the middle of the series, because she figured some stuff out. But like some of the twists and turns that are in the series that pay off the best,
so
she
early
hints
on.
at it in the very
Yeah.
beginning, in the first book, and like one of the characters and their payoff story, she told the actor before she had finished the book series.
Alan Rickman.
Yeah, she told. Well, I was just trying not to spoil who it was, so that they can be surprised if they ever watch it.
Spoilers! 10 years later.
Watch it right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's
Harry Potter?
Yeah, the
No one
Severus
spoils
Snape,
Sixth Sense.
when they pay off his story beats, J.K. Rowling in the first movie told him what the twist was for him and his character and exactly what was going on. So Alan Rickman plays the character like he knows this twist is coming, and it made the acting better, you know. So yeah. Anyways, that's my thing.
So
All right. I think I might need to ban Arcasula after this statement.
I've never watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I did. I didn't like it. I watched the first season.
takes right there.
Yeah.
Hey, I am a genius compared to that take. All my takes are normal compared to that.
I mean, yeah. He said now we wait after that. I was like,
Well,
is he
well,
serious? Because I don't know if I've ever heard anyone who's serious.
Well,
because in order
well-
to, sorry, go ahead.
If he thinks it's good, then it's still a better take than Jet, because Jed said he liked it or he didn't like it. So boom. That's how we know it.
No.
That's how we know the take is good. All right. That makes sense.
He fooled us.
I'll side with Jed on this one. That's the Game of Thrones.
That's actually how I found Geeks and Gamers and Neurotic, because of how bad season 8 was.
Game of
I found
Thrones
it through Jump
season 8
Video.
is a masterclass of learning how to ruin your story in every way.
How to ruin a
Pretty much.
story in 6 episodes or less.
I mean,
All right.
every like we could go through almost every character.
Well, that's
was
what.
ruined.
look at
all
him.
we're trying to
Look at Disparu when he brought up Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Disparu.
Because I know
Sad
Disparu
inside.
doesn't like George
So-
R. R. Martin very much.
So
and I like
Disparu
his
doesn't know
rants.
Classic Who. He doesn't like Harry Potter. Do you like Game of Thrones? Do we have to kick you as the British guy?
It depends on the series,
What's
and I
with the
don't
British?
know. I don't
Leave him
I
alone.
don't know this. I don't know. Everyone just chooses low hanging fruit, but it's all right because he's American, so you know I win. But
It's whatever, man. We got
We got
talking about.
guns.
We got bald eagles and AR-15s. What you talking
Yeah,
about?
we tell
Freedom.
time with apple
What you
pie
mean,
and
I
golden
don't
do.
know.
I don't think it's gonna reach across the pond. It's
We
like,
measure
That's
things
okay. I
on-
don't want to go there anyway.
That's what you
should
think,
wanna come
Disparu.
here.
It's like, yeah.
I love Disparu, but I'll go full nationalist if you want. If you push me.
No, this is the thing. Like I say, all of Britain only stays together because we do that with every single country within the UK. Like we all hate it. It's literally Britain is based upon sort of mutual hatred. I had a Scottish. My best ever comment was a Scottish guy that wrote an essay about how abominable I was as a person because I was English, and like it got filtered. I only found like the filtered part of the back end of YouTube with like these are restricted comments, and I found it. I'm like, that's gold. This is amazing. The effort he put in was
He
genius.
was so impressed. I remember you talking about that. And he's like,
Yeah, I read
loved
it out to you. It took me ages.
Yeah, he was so happy because he's like, I love that this guy put that much work into
Well,
it.
Yeah.
I'm Scottish, so I hate all English people. That's kind of important.
But exactly, this is the whole thing, and we're like, well, why don't you piss off then? It's like, well, we tried. It's like, but we keep voting to stay. No one's a winner in this scenario. It's like I've always said to Scottish people, if you want a guaranteed way to leave the United Kingdom, just let English people vote on whether we want you or not. It's like you'll be gone tomorrow. It'll be easy. And the worst thing is, the Scottish will never do that because even though they want independence, they don't want us to give it to them. That's the most important part. It's like we will get what we want, but we can't get it from you. We want you to be annoyed by it.
Amazing.
I know enough about British culture to know that is 100% true.
Oh, it is weird though when you get like some American people and they're like, well, well, I'm Irish. And we're just like, no, you're not. You're American. What, you want American? It's like, no, my great. It's like, no, you're American.
Well, everyone thinks I'm Irish, and I get offended by that. So,
Because you ginger.
well,
Yeah, it
because
is.
Irish people hate Idahoan people, so I gotta hate that, and Irish people hate Scottish
Have you
people.
asked the Irish about this?
Yes.
I bet most Irish people couldn't point to Idaho on a map.
So, no.
Where's that?
American Irish.
This is actually something most people don't
See,
know.
American then.
No. So,
Oh wait, Idaho's also the reason why they have potato famines because they stole all
right.
their
So
potatoes.
actually, Maine, the state in the United States, and Ireland hates Idaho for one reason. Because 150 years ago, Ireland was the biggest potato manufacturer in the world. And then it was Maine. So Ireland hates Maine.
Oh no, the title.
I know. But then Idaho took that title from Maine. So
Those
both Ireland
bastards.
and Maine hate Idaho for taking that title from both of them. So I can never go to Maine and I can never go to Ireland, even though everyone thinks I'm Irish. It's just kind of how it goes.
I'm pretty
In
sure if you
Idaho-
go to those states, you'll be okay. They're not gonna be like, you stole the potatoes.
Yeah,
Okay,
Americans do really well over here, actually. If you've got a stereotypical sort of American accent, a lot of people will be impressed. It's kind of the same thing in reverse, but you'll oh, you're American, you've come over it. It's like, it's not usual to meet many Americans, so.
Well, I got laid more in London than I did in New York City, so that's pretty true.
I don't know if you guys have heard about, just as a side, there was like a chick that she quit her job here in America and just moved over to Scotland. And she's currently living in Scotland right now. Like, and
How'd that
everybody
go?
loves her over there, apparently. They've made news
What are you
stories about
doing,
her.
Disparu?
I must have said something to make Disparu laugh.
Sometimes my brain thinks of things I can't say, and it's a problem. It's a problem. At least
Can you
why do
tell
think
it
there's so
in
many
the
edits
chat,
in my
or you not?
videos? It's like half the jokes I say I have to edit out, and then you just get like the smaller censored bits. I was still going, I get laid more in London than anything else. I'm like, okay, and then my brain just goes off.
Stop.
Sorry, Mike.
It's true, though. I got laid more in London than I did in New York. So.
Yeah, you had to pay
Well,
for
Mike
it.
was talking, so I couldn't be like, you're essentially just saying that everyone in London's a,
It's really funny. No, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the sarcasm.
I thought that was pretty funny
That's
though.
really
Yeah,
funny.
she moved over to Scotland and she's just living there now. Like,
What's she
apparently.
do?
I'm jealous.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how
She
she's
just
living or
lives there.
surviving.
She just
lives
thrives
there
off the
now, and
land.
like,
It's just like hills.
yeah, and they're like, people like her over there, and people.
That
like,
sounds
give her places to
amazing.
stay and stuff.
I love that. I love like new adventure, going new places, just hitting the reset button. I mean, that's obviously not to the same extent, of course, going to another country, but
Yeah, but she
on
straight
the-
up like
on
didn't
the-
have. Yeah, she had
But-
enough money for like a plane ticket and
Yeah.
went over there.
Wow.
I
on
wanna
the Poor
that takes
Choices
time.
stream, everybody was trying to give me advice on how to make friends. Like, I don't know how to make friends.
I saw that.
Yeah,
saw
well,
that.
because I don't really have friends, but I was like, guys, I know I signed up for this. I left California after I lived there for 30 plus years, and I went to South Dakota knowing nobody there would know who I am. But I'm like, whatever, I'll start over. I will make friends with time. I'll have to. But as right now, I don't really have any. But,
I know.
I joined Geeks and Gamers. I mean, that counts,
I'm your
right?
friend.
Well,
I'll be your
yeah,
friend.
Yeah, we
That's
can
genuinely the way to do it. Like when I went to university, the way I got around it, I just joined loads of clubs. That's why I'm like, I know archery now. It wasn't because I wanted
Casual.
to shoot people with a bow and arrow. It was just
Well,
because people
it'll
did
come when
archery.
Well, that's the thing.
And that was
Everyone-
That's why I would
interested
have
in.
learned archery.
Everybody turns it
archery's
into a
cool
negative,
stuff,
so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you don't have friends? That's sad. It's
No.
like, no, listen. This is how important freedom is compared to living in California. It's like, I will take freedom. I will meet a bunch of new people. I will uproot my whole life. Give me freedom.
Yeah,
Well,
both.
this might piss off Johnny and make Disparu like me a little bit more, but I would give it all up to move to London. I give Disparu a lot
I
of
think it
shit,
might
but I would
make
move to
Disparu like
London
you
in a
less.
heartbeat.
Mike knows me. It's like, oh, I'd move to London. I don't even consider London to be part of Britain. It's
Shepherd's Bush. Shepherd's Bush is where I want to move to. Shepherd's Bush is pretty great.
You know, I feel like
London
we
is
should do a drinking game of for every time Jed says word Britain or like English or something, because we don't want to be wasted right now.
Yeah, because
I love
the
Britain.
topics
That's
of the
okay.
stream. You had Harry
didn't have
Potter,
drinking
Lord
for
of the
all of
Rings. It was like it was gonna go that way.
Well, yeah, I always say Britain because there was one time I was at a lake here in Arizona and I was super fucking drunk. One of my friends told me he was giving me a water bottle, but he gave me a water bottle full of vodka instead.
How
So
do you
I'm-
not taste the difference?
I was already a little bit drunk at that point.
Because when you're an alcoholic, it all tastes like water.
It's like,
Exactly.
why does
Everything
this
is
water
water
taste
when
like
you were an
paint stripper?
alcoholic.
All right, but I gotta get into the story. So by this point, I'm fucking drunk, but we've all like there's 30 boats all tied together, and I ended up talking to this British chick, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Britain," and I'm trying to guessing her accent because I've seen Doctor Who, so I know all British accents, obviously. So I'm like, "Oh, you're from Wales, right?" I'm like, "Oh, you're from Wales, right? You sound Welsh," and she's like, "I'm from South London, you fucking retard." And I'm so fucking drunk that I'm like, oh, obviously I knew that. And I'm flirting with this chick. And it's the next day that I see a picture of this. She is 60 years old and I didn't even know it.
Hey, that's the power of beer, dude. There's a reason beer goggles is a legitimate term.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we go to Scottsdale.
Okay?
When people say she's a 10, they don't necessarily mean the number.
Yeah.
I like Small Time Republic's comment. That's funny.
Oh, shit.
Fuck you. Emma Watson is the most perfect looking woman in existence.
I'm sorry, but did you see
That
her
is
hair
a
at the
very
back?
subjective opinion because no, I was never into Emma Watson. I never found her attractive.
Oh, I want
I
to
think
be.
it would have been illegal for me to be into Emma Watson.
Well, it's also like a little difficult for me when I saw the woman grow up. Like,
Labs, did you say you want to be Emma Watson?
Yeah, I wanted to pull
I
back
did.
that.
I want to be.
Like,
just-
it's the same
so
thing
I
with
can
freaking
dress
Arya
everyone.
Stark.
So
Like
nice.
when she had that
Gotcha.
scene at the end of like Game of Thrones season 8. I'm like, I don't want to
Did.
see any of Arya's body because we saw her as a little girl. Frick no. Like
Well-
no. She will always be a little girl in my mind. It doesn't help that the actress looks like a little girl.
Yeah, she
but-
doesn't age. Like, she was in Doctor Who as well, and it's like,
Yeah, she
you
was.
just,
She
you
looked
just
the
look like
exact
a
same.
child.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with Emma Watson. I'm like, I
immortal.
still
Yeah,
remember
immortal
tiny little
nine-year-old.
Emma in like the first Harry Potter movie. It's like, no, I don't.
Well,
look at her
when
that
it comes
way.
to Game of Thrones, for me, season 7 was already out before I got into Game of Thrones because I was an adult when season 7 was out. So that's when I started to be able
Oh, so
to
you were a
watch it.
sadist. Like,
I
you
was.
already heard about what the horror that was about to come, and you still decided to go into that series.
Season 8 hadn't come out yet. Season 8.
Oh, it went downhill before.
But
I didn't-
but
I
it
didn't
was like
know
this. It was like this, and then season 8 was like
it was a
that.
cliff.
Right.
Yeah, I
No,
agree.
that was the difference.
She looks like a boy. I'm sorry.
I
With like
actually
a little upside down eyebrow thing going on.
I
actually
personally
have
had a thing for
I've
Sophie
got to
Turner.
Google it. What? Upside down eyebrow?
Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner is dog shit, man. He's
I
making
gotta
like
say
Coach
something.
Eternal.
Link to the Past is the greatest Super Nintendo game of all
What
time.
on
Listen,
earth
you
is
kicked me off the
Boot me.
stream. You just
Boot me.
sad
I
because
haven't been booted
Yeah,
yet. I'm trying to get
Emma
rebooted
Watson
by
doesn't have
Chad.
boobs.
I feel like I'm
He's
doing
got
something
cards to
wrong.
play, dude.
Emma Watson has the best boobs in the world. That may be Photoshop telling me that, but she has the best boobs in the world.
Dude,
Best
they're
boobs in-
non-existent. It's like a
That's exactly it.
mosquito.
They're imaginary,
I'm
so they're the
pretty
best.
sure I have the
It's
same
there.
body. Like, if me and Emma Watson were Elden Ring, we'd both be the same body type. Like, we'd be on the same side.
Oh, that's so good.
That was savage.
Wait, what?
Oh,
It's like, I mean,
I think it's finally time we boot him.
Oh my gosh, stop with the booty.
Oh my god, dude.
I think I might have a problem with booting people.
yeah, just a
maybe.
bit. There's a joke, and then there's a joke that you've driven into the floor. And
That's
believe
true.
me,
But maybe it's
I'm
not a
fully-
joke. Maybe he just likes the
I'm
power.
more than willing to do
I
the
do.
latter.
It's
Like I
thing,
have the
but-
finger.
I do like
Yeah.
the power. All right, we actually have a question in the chat for Disparu. Have you seen Toast in London?
Just
What the hell did you say?
What did you just call him?
Just a maroon?
That's
All
what
right,
I'm gonna
I
do.
don't know. I didn't hear that. I was reading the thing. What do you mean? The toast of London? That could be so many things. Like, you could mean
Beans and
actual,
toast?
like, toasted bread, or you could mean, like, the toast as in cheers. I
Like a
genuinely
movie?
don't know what you're referring to.
It's probably a show or something. I don't
Like,
know.
there's even,
Movie?
like, Blackadder, where he calls one of the politicians, is like, they used to use your arse as a toast rack when you were in school. So, you know, there's various different things you could be referring to.
Dude, Blackadder was the shit. Yeah.
Blackadder was awesome. Yeah, although
Yeah.
the best British comedy is Coupling. The British version, not the American version, which
Wow.
ruined it. But
I haven't seen
Coupling
I haven't
is-
seen Coupling.
Like, everyone, like,
See, this is why Disparu hates Americans because Arcasol will call him a tard for not knowing one of our shows.
any literally anyone I've ever dated, I made watch Coupling. That's like the
That's
thing.
amazing.
If you won't watch Coupling, oh, you're gone. I'm sorry. No, it's like, no, if you don't like that, we're not gonna get on.
That's
really
me
funny.
with Doctor Who. That's me with Doctor Who.
yeah,
Well.
it's like everyone needs filters. That's how you get through life.
Exactly.
But the Toast of London, what? So the Toast of London is an American show that I'm supposed to know, which is about London. That sounds like my
I
idea
don't know
of
if
hell.
it's actually I'm guessing, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. He's like, I'll Google it. It's like if it's a BBC thing or it's
Big black
not like
cock.
a recent thing.
Yeah, if it's a
I have
BBC
no
thing
idea.
and you don't know about it, maybe I'll agree that you're a
I'll
turd.
find out. It's got Matt Berry in it.
Really?
What's a Matt Berry?
I need to watch this.
Matt
show.
Berry was the guy from the IT crowd. He's normally in really good stuff. He was in what was it called? Dark Place. If you ever want a weird comedy which really requires sort of knowledge of 70s sci-fi, Dark Place is amazing. But some people will watch it and like, this is fucking weird. But as long as you know like old sort of classic sci-fi stuff, like there's even things where it's badly cut. So a guy will be walking to the exit and he'll stop and he'll turn around and like, stop, I need to talk to you. And it's like, that's just how 70s stuff really was. There's like, there's a water barrel in the corner full of green fungus, and everyone's getting all this green sort of mold growing on them. And like, we don't know what the problem is. What could possibly be the problem? And they're all like going to the water fountain to drink from it as this green liquid pours out. And then like, it's
really
amazing. They've got someone with telekinesis, and all the plates are just on like really big, thick bits of rope that are flying around the room.
That's
If you like parodies, Dark Place is amazing.
It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the IT crowd because I fucking love the IT crowd. Because as someone who
genius.
loves
You love a British
stuff,
property? I don't believe you.
Yeah, I love British shit,
mean,
but
British?
I also work, but I also
4 seasons. Sorry, I'm still on this.
But I also work IT in my day job, so I get all the IT jokes, plus I get all the British jokes. It's one of the best shows there is because of that combo.
I will watch The Toast of London because it's got every sign that it's going to be amazing. So whoever said that, thank you.
All right, Blabs, you're commenting, and I don't appreciate
Just want to see
that.
if you can do it.
But Seashells by the Seashore. I can talk sometimes. My speech
No.
impediment.
You only said like half
You
of
have
it.
like half of that.
You've sobered up
She
since the start of the stream.
I
Sells
have a little bit.
she shells
No, I can tell.
by the seashore.
Goodness
I can
gracious,
give
you
you
even read it slow and couldn't get
I can
through
give
it.
you a short
Yeah,
one.
fuck,
Yeah.
I
Seashell-
can't read.
I can give you a
Short.
short one, and I bet you still can't do it.
What?
Irish
Irish?
wristwatch. Just
That was
say
Irish.
you.
Wristwatch.
Oh no.
I wish.
God, Blab's good. God.
I can't say W's when I'm sober, so how am I supposed to say that now?
Wait, what is it?
Irish.
Irish wristwatch.
Irish.
Wristwatch.
Irish wristwatch. I can't
Irish
say it
wristwatch.
for the love of God. Irish
Wristwatch.
wristwatch. Irish
Irish
wristwatch.
Ah, I knew
Irish
it.
wristwatch.
I think
What?
Blabs is more drunk than you.
Yeah,
I
Blab.
had water.
What have you been drinking?
Yeah, but was the water, did it come out the tap and you're like, you know, the company you buy it from, they're like, oh,
Well,
we're actually going to ship vodka through the
outside.
taps. And you just didn't realize because
Or-
that's a normal thing that people do. No one can tell the difference between water and vodka, apparently. Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's only half vodka. 35%.
Right now, I honestly couldn't tell the difference. I know you're joking, but I wouldn't be able to tell the difference right now.
Was
Wow,
I used
I
to
don't
tell people get
understand
so
even
wasted they'll
smelling
get
it.
shots of water. at
I've
the
never
bar.
been
You
that
know,
drunk where I
Or
can't tell the difference
self-control.
between water and alcohol.
No, I think that's physically impossible.
I mean, the
I
man
genuinely
did
got
say
drunk
he's
from
an
water quickly.
alcoholic. Are any of us alcoholics? Maybe
I
he's
was.
further along.
I beat it.
Could you tell the difference? Good for you, brother. Could you tell the difference between water and alcohol in your
Goddamn,
worst place?
Johnny. If that didn't sound like the most sarcastic shit ever. Good for you, brother.
No, I meant it. No, it's because you're not used to geeks and gamers actually complimenting people. I do that, okay? Anyway.
I don't think you appreciate how unusual it was for me to tell you that you needed to drink water. Mike knows. Mike knows.
I know.
But there was a difference. Even Ripper, I was on a stream with Ripper, and he was like, if I keep meeting you, Drunk's gonna need a different name. I was like, okay. I didn't think it was that obvious. Apparently it was that obvious. But I did realize that Mike saying that's funny, I thought it was just a you thing. It's like, no, it's a really American thing. It's just like not laugh. You just say it's funny. And
Yeah,
it's really weird over here. Like we
I
laugh.
use it to fill in gaps in like silence.
Yeah.
Because if you say that's funny, it's like a simple compliment or like a
but to
simple
us,
like
that's
haha.
sarcastic. So it has the opposite
Yeah,
meaning.
because
Because
I
if we
kinda
found it
see
funny,
the way
we'd laugh.
Disparu does. Yeah, because it kind of comes across dickish to me sometimes. It's like
Yeah, it's like, that's
acknowledging
funny.
what you're saying, but it's kind of just disregarding it, being like, "Oh, that's funny," but
Yeah,
it's not
'cause if
really
you don't
funny
laugh,
because you're not
it's not
laughing.
funny.
Whenever I
Across
say
the
that's
sarcasm,
funny, I'm lying.
Mike, that's
it's
really
just-
funny, Mike.
I'm not
that joke's
funny. So
really
they just
funny.
That's they go, oh, that's funny, but they don't laugh. That happens to me all the time. And I'm
Oh
like,
yikes!
shit,
Yeah,
I
no,
guess
that's not how I mean it at all. Wow.
Oh no, I get that, but that's something I have to remember with you and like Americans because you get these weird cultural like when I found out that Americans didn't have the words fancy dress, I almost fell over. It's like no, we call it going in costume.
What does that even mean?
Like Halloween, you go in fancy dress.
Right.
No,
Oh,
fancy
it's a
dress.
ball
Is,
gown?
I have to go to a dinner party. Now I have to dress fancy.
Yeah, I learned this from Nerdrotica. It was like I thought it meant that on Halloween British people walk around in like a 3-piece suit. It's like no, we mean like going in costume, not going in fancy dress. You
Why
find all
did
these
you
weird
say
stuff.
going in costume? I confuse this.
I've seen enough Doctor Who to
because
know
we're not
what-
American. We say things correctly. It's not our fault that
Correctly.
you left the
You
colonies.
act like
you went
we're
on
the
your
problem,
own,
and then you
lost
come
a
up
huge
across
part
like
of your
that.
We
own
left
culture.
you and made everything better.
Disparu,
You
you're
broke
always wrong.
everything.
You
I
add
haven't- I
you
haven't-
to every single word. You're
Listen,
automatically wrong.
love
You
my
add
country.
you to too many words.
America
I love my
literally.
country.
I do
love
use
the
too
flag.
many words, but that's a
I
me
love
thing, not a
bald
British
eagles.
thing.
I haven't belittled Disparu one time, but he keeps coming at us saying, "Oh, we're better," all that sort of thing. I
Of
have
course
to
we
say
are.
that.
We're British.
The thing is,
I don't you
All I
realize
know
British
right now is
people
that
will
you're
simultaneously
snobby.
British people will simultaneously like revel in their own pain and put themselves down, but actually we're thinking, no, we're better than everyone else. It's like
I know you are.
One thing you have to get used to is like if I say
Yeah,
I'm
I can
okay,
recognize
I actually mean like I'm probably the best at this game. I'm probably the best person that's ever lived. If
Well,
I'm
you
saying
s-
I'm okay at something, whereas American people are like, you only have to witness Jeremy playing Mario Kart. This is the hero's journey. I'm gonna come top and everything else. If I'm like, I'll probably come around 6th. I'm actually saying I will kick your ass into the ground and make you uninstall the game. Is that like the difference?
Well, you haven't done that.
When you
yet.
talk to
All I
American,
know
they
is
think
I'm
you're being
owning
serious. Like, oh, he's
all
probably
this.
shit.
You say that, but an
Splatoon
American
2 is
will
my realm.
criticize America all day long, but as soon as a foreign person criticizes it, they're full red, white, and blue eagle
Oh, yeah.
all day long.
Eagle eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
British people will agree with you and make it worse.
we literally just
Like you think
stole-
we're that
That's
bad, we're
where
way
I'm at.
worse than that.
Like
we've
I will
just stolen
criticize
everyone's
the
culture. and
yeah,
then figured
like
out how
I
to
will
commercialize it.
criticize the American government all day long, but as soon as Disparu criticizes the American government, I will yeet his ass and go full red, white, and blue. Say the
You won't.
national anthem.
Forgot what it was.
But the only time we criticize the American government is when they're threatening the freedoms that we already have. That's how I am. So it's like, yeah, I
criticize
still love
the
my
American
country,
government
even though we
every
got
day.
dingus running it right now, but I still love it as it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's just what it is right now is being threatened. So
I hate it all, so it's
yeah.
fine.
That's a good stance.
Well, then
That's
get
not-
out then. Go to Canada. What are you
government.
doing here?
Canada's
Canada's
not a real place.
Canada's
Canada's a
fine.
imaginary
Go to
place.
Australia.
Come over here, Mike. You'll tell people they're funny.
Yeah,
You'll
go
get
hang
into
out
a
with
fight within the
Disparu.
week.
It'd be like a
It's literally
arrogant douchebag
collective-
too.
It's Canada is literally collective psychosis. Everyone thinks it's real, but it's not. It doesn't exist. There's
Canada
nothing
is a
about
more
the United
extreme.
States.
Canada is a more extreme version of London. That's
And that's
how it-
terrifying.
Yeah.
That's the most terrifying thing ever.
And that should tell you what I think of London as well. In the same breath.
It's not a real place. It's just it's
Narnia.
a made up.
Oh no, I
Make-believe.
don't get the it's not a real place, mate. I mean, like just from sort of the culture, it's the same sort of thing.
Oh,
Like-
I love London so much. That might be
How
an
dare
American
you?
accent.
Live,
but I
live
love
there,
London.
then you'll see. See, this is you're talking
Live
about
there
the
and you'll
London
hate
accents.
it.
London has about 10 different accents
It
at
does.
least. In fact, Scousers are being made extinct because they can no longer afford to live in their homeland, so they're getting yeeted out of London. And they're like the Scouse accent, not Scouse. Scouse is Liverpool.
Sure. I'll take your word
You're
for it.
I
terrible.
think you've had too much to drink, Disparu.
Really? You're
Probably, but
one
no one's
with
arguing
that.
that.
Let
Well, like,
Jed
yes.
tell you about your
I love
geography.
that.
He's already
This was
way more
like,
British than you are,
and
Disparu, so.
I'm drunk today. Congratulations.
Oh, I forgot. No, I forgot. Like, I'm not from. I don't think about London problems very much. That's why I forgot. The one thing about me, I'm terrible with names. Like, I go by description. So, it seems like I don't know the names of stuff, but I will just. Yeah, like Mike is the guy who has no hair because
What's
it blends
Mike?
in with his
Huh?
background.
What is Mike? Go ahead, say it.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
Mike?
He handled
I
it
did.
really well.
He's
He was
got
like,
things
I'm
up
gonna
on.
tap
Exactly.
on that
Well,
question real
hold
fast.
on, hold on, Disparu. What part of England are you from?
Look, if you say you're from Texas, Texas is about 20 times bigger than the UK. You want me to tell you? If I tell you where I'm from, I might as well give you my street address. We're not a very big place.
Give me
you want GPS
justimation. Like, you're obviously not from
The
London.
best thing about my accent is it's a generic one from across the entire UK as well. You can't even put me down to a certain place. In fact, Mike's helping me by going, he's the Dragon of Manchester, he's the Dragon of London, he's the Dragon of Newcastle, he's the Dragon of Timbuktu. Nobody knows where I'm from, and it's all thanks to Mike, so I congratulate him on that.
I'd say Birmingham if I had a gun in my head.
It's not like he's gonna be like, yeah,
It's just funnier to just say
my name's
London.
Dave from Birmingham. It's like, I don't have that accent.
It's just funnier to say
This is
Disparu's
my
from
accent from now
London
on.
because it's generic. It's like saying an American is from Texas. It's
All right,
just
I'm gonna
generic.
There is a picture of the UK from America's point of view, and it's just London across the entire British Isles.
But,
I'm
you know.
ashamed of yourself and so incredibly arrogant at the same time. It's like
It's a
like
gift.
this art.
That's the
dude.
definition of free.
Look at him! Look at how happy he is about it. He was like,
well,
if you're gonna compliment me, do it.
Yeah, this is the thing. If Jeremy actually compliments me, I'm just like, I don't know how to respond to this. British people don't actually compliment each other. If you call me a dickhead, then I'd probably know how to respond. But it's like,
He's like,
It's just Harry Potter everywhere. You don't even see half of it.
On my last live
It's not even
stream,
a real house, it's just a
Labs was so proud of her sorting hat. She's like, "This is so British. I love Britain." And it's like,
Jed's like, I'm a collector, so since I had Emma Watson, I figured I needed
awesome.
Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm gonna be honest.
It's like, no.
I expected like a full-on actual sorting hat, not like
yeah,
a
but she reached for it as if it was a really big
Yeah,
object,
she's like,
and then it came out as little tiny thing.
By the way,
Oh, it's
has
right
everybody-
here.
Has everybody
Oh,
done
no.
the podcast?
Oh, we can be friends. It's fine.
No,
You're a Slytherin?
I'm definitely a Slytherin. I should be a Slytherin.
I'm
about
a
you?
Hufflepuff.
Why? What do you mean should? What did it tell you?
Why are you even asking me?
I
don't
knew
even know what these
because-
are. I only learned Hufflepuff wasn't a Pokemon recently.
Sorry, Brian.
How
I just
are you
woke up
British?
Like,
Part of me just hopes that you
Just
are.
how are you British?
We can
And
still
you don't
put you in a
understand.
house.
I'm
Okay.
older
We-
than you are.
We need a
You're
put
older
in a
than me
sorting
by
house.
3
Like,
years, and I just
When
was
was the
there.
first
What
book
house
even
were you
come out?
actually in?
He's a Ravenclaw. I guarantee it. Just
I
Just
wish I was a Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
I've not even heard of
Yeah.
Ravenclaw.
I see this right for you.
Yeah.
They're like the smart.
But no, because when it asks you those questions, it's like it was asking me questions about determination and how strong-willed I am, and I'm such a type A, go getter. I freaking hate losing, and I'm just like, with every answer, I feel myself
1997,
describing my origin story,
Yeah,
my villain origin story. I'm like, I am so Slytherin. I knew it by the end of it. I was like, yep.
In fact, it was
Wasn't
11.
even close.
They force you into 4 houses, Disparu. It's kind of the worst
Right.
thing ever.
It's like a
As-
personality test, but only 4 possibilities.
I
and
got
that'll
sorted
be your
Gryffindor
friend.
twice, so I'm just gonna
As
leave it like that.
Labs
Yeah.
I'm a
know,
Gryffindor.
there is a 5th house
I was
called the House of
21 when the
Handy.
last book came out.
Yes, it's true. I told Biggles was in the House of Handies.
That means I was 19. So, no, I'm a Gryffindor.
So what about when the first book came out? You were perfect age to get into it.
That was
I
11.
was
I was
you-
in
oh,
the Wheel of Time
when
by
Harry
that point.
Potter starts his school in
Yeah.
Hogwarts,
But you got to
he's
understand,
11.
British 11 is American 17.
Yeah, to be fair, I was an old git
Oh
when
my
I was
gosh,
11.
What is
I've
up?
only just
Mike
got worse.
Mike is just sucking the dick of Britain.
I'm
Seriously.
not sucking a dick of anything. I'm telling you what it really
Elaborate.
is.
I
I
mean,
know enough
knows
British
it.
people
where
to
the
know.
fuck are you?
Mike just
Mike,
knows his
you
place.
hype up Britain more than Disparu does.
I never hyped up Britain. I never said anything good about it. I said they're.
17?
It's all
Wait,
right,
did
Mike. We'll
Jeff
get you
say
there
that?
eventually.
Where the hell are you? 'Cause I'm not
I've
sure.
never said anything good about it.
Even
Listen,
Disparu is on my side. He's like, I know you're one of
Yeah.
us. We'll
I've
get you
read
over
stories
here.
about how
No,
fucking
even
bad
if you're
London
not, we'll
is.
get you.
I'd
We'll get
rather
you.
be in the slums of Detroit, making it work in ghettos in Detroit, than go to fucking London and get on their trains.
Hey,
Like-
I'm long playing the take back of the United States. That's what I'm doing. That's the
Hey,
reason I'm
the
here.
tube is way better than the subway. The tube
Just
is
because
way
the
better than the
tube
subway.
was way better than the subway.
Some of the
Sorry,
stories I
Firstly,
hear
they're both
about
the same
there,
thing.
but
Secondly,
Mike's a
both of them
traitor
are at
to this
London
country,
only,
so.
and it's like shoving sardines into a tin.
Yeah.
It's like one of the more abominable parts of London.
Yeah.
Fuck
there's-
you. The tube is really easy to understand.
Did you just argue
London
with the
isn't even
British
part
guy
of England.
about? He's like, "Fuck you! I know more about your public transportation than you do."
There's
That's how I
literally
feel.
scenes in the tube of people trying to shove themselves onto it, and people on the background are pushing them into the tube because there's no space and the doors have to close. It's like, if you want to go on public transport, you do not want to go on the tube unless it's out of office hours. It's okay at midnight. Apart from that, you probably don't want to go on.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, dude. I gotta look this up.
It's like literally just at rush hour, it's insane because it was designed for a place with far fewer people. But London's ballooned, but it's an underground train station. What are you going to do? Expand it somehow? You can't. So it's completely. All of our infrastructure is the same with roads and everything else. It's just London gets it worse because it expanded faster.
Yeah, but you guys get faster trains. We got shit trains. It takes like 2 hours to get to New York City. It was ridiculous.
The thing is, with trains, you have to like plan
Harry
the
Potter game, right, Blabs? I'm done talking about Britain. I'm moving on.
What'd you say?
So you're going to talk about Harry Potter instead? So that's
yes.
Well
created by
whatever. We don't have culture, okay? I still have to finish a video before tomorrow. So.
It was much later than I planned on it being. Now I'm the fucking host.
Yeah,
are you though?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Blabs is like, I'm holding this down.
I kind of feel like Blabs is the
I'm
host.
the one holding this together.
I'm gonna be looking for Blabs to invite me next time because I'm pretty sure she's hosting.
She's not kidding, because she's on the channel more than I am. So
I'm on once a week.
That sounds like you're more than him.
I could still be more.
Better than me.
If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.